All right, everybody, welcome out to the Logroom Guys Craft Beer Show. It is Tuesday, March the 19th, 2024. Jersey Johnny coming at you. And with me, as always, none other than Mr. Beer Samurai. Say hello, Mr. Samurai.
Hey.
I said hello, not hey.
Oh, hey. No, I'm sorry. I'm still trying to fill in my brackets. I really wish I'd paid attention to that.
Still trying to fill in your bracket?
Yeah.
Now, is that the bracket for the NCAA March Madness?
Yes,
Or is that the Paragon Tap and Table craft beer?
Are they doing that again?
No, they're not.
Oh, I was going to say.
Well, you can fill in last year's.
Was there too many claims of collusion?
Oh no, none at all. No,
we're not going
to be silly.
I failed last year in the brackets there. I failed last year on the actual brackets.
Did you?
I won the pool the year prior to that, though.
I remember that.
And it's because I had no clue what I was doing.
Well, sometimes ignorance is bliss.
Then I'd be the happiest fucking person on the planet now, wouldn't I?
You will. Well, you know what you should do? You should.
I should drink a beer?
You should live long and prosper.
We should probably save that.
Yeah?
Yeah, we'll save that.
All right, we'll save it.
We'll save that. We'll save it.
Right.
We'll get to that. But I could have gotten more muscles by eating spinach on National Spinach Day.
Happy National Spinach Day.
The way I look at it, if Popeye was strong enough to crush a can open so the spinach squirted into his mouth, you'd think he's already strong enough, wouldn't you?
Well, I would imagine his strength increased like tenfold from the squeezing of, beyond just the squeezing of the can, the ability to squeeze the can.
Yeah,
he's strong already. Like he doesn't need
that just makes him stronger
just to be strong in the sense of the word, right?
Hey, did you see Wonka?
The new one.
The new movie. Okay, because it's a character.
This is the 17th version of Willy Wonka, right?
Third.
Who's counting?
There's only one that counts, though. But anyway, in this one, there's one character in this guy. If they ever redo Popeye, which they should never do, but if they ever redo it, there's a guy in it who looks just like Brutus, and they better get him to play it.
Gotcha.
He is Brutus.
Mm.
So,
well,
at any rate,
and then his day was last week, wasn't it?
Yes, the Ides of March.
Right. Yeah.
Et tu. You too, Brutus.
You too, Brutus. That was when Brutus, that comes from back when Brutus, beat up Popeye that time, right? That's what that's.
Yes,
right.
Him, and a bunch of other senators. I mean, I don't know what he was doing hanging around in Ottawa, but
Canada.
Yeah, he was beat up by the hockey team.
Oh, Senators, Ottawa, Canada.
Yeah.
I tried to say Ottawa, Canada, and Senators in one word. That didn't come out right.
Sattawas.
Sattawats.
I think that's a tribe up there.
It could possibly be.
I don't know.
I'm thirsty. What about you?
I'm thirsty too.
Right.
And, if we're going to celebrate any other days, I am wearing purple for Purple Day.
There you go.
And you wear purple for Purple Day. It's for epilepsy awareness.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why we wear purple. So I got to pull out my burial shirt. I love my burial shirt.
Burial shirt's a good thing.
And but then to celebrate the other day.
By the way, those of you that don't know, Burial is a brewery down in Asheville, North Carolina. It's not that he's wearing a burial shirt, like the shirt that he wears when he buries people. That's not what he's wearing.
Or the shirt they're going to bury me in when every joke here dies.
6 of 1, right? Exactly. Yeah. Anyway,
it's a very appropriate shirt.
It's an appropriate shirt for tonight, anyway. Most nice. In any event, all right. Let's bring our esteemed guest on this evening. Please welcome to the show, Mr. Al Gattullo.
Howdy, boys.
I've met that guy.
I think we know him.
Yeah.
He's been around a couple times here and there, once in a while. There you go. How are you, sir?
How are we doing, gentlemen?
Good. Yourself?
Running around like a chicken with my head cut off, but that's par for the course here.
Par for the course.
Yeah.
Chickens with heads cut off, they do run around. They tend to run around frantically.
That's true. Although I was watching some YouTube clip today, something from Jerry Springer, and the guy was a chicken hanger, and apparently he worked at a Purdue factory or whatever, and his job was to get the chickens and grab them live and hang them up to get them ready to be
decapitated.
Right. So I was like, oh, okay. Now I get it.
So
he's the guy.
He's the guy that knows for sure what a chicken with its head cut off.
He's the guy behind the guy.
But that doesn't. But the chickens don't run around with their head cut off if he's got them hung.
If he's got them hanging, right? Exactly.
True.
So you're telling us you're hanging from the ceiling?
I guess.
Okay, you got a very interesting floor there.
Cheers.
Yeah, cheers.
I'm drinking a fresh Sapporo.
Fresh
Sapporo. Now that Sapporo has acquired Stone,
they
have retrofitted both breweries on both coasts to produce Sapporo beer. So this actually comes from their facility that Stone has in, what is it, Virginia?
Virginia.
Yeah. So this is from their Stone facility in Virginia. They sent me a 6-pack.
Where are they? Richmond?
No, it's
west.
Yeah, it's west.
Yes.
West.
Yeah. It's closer to Roanoke. Not quite there. It's whatchamacallit. That is good because there can be fresh Sapporo, which is good.
That's right.
However,
what
they did in San Francisco,
it's
still a sad state of affairs.
Oh no! Wait a second. Now I'm reading the can because I actually put my glasses on. So it was imported from Tarrytown, brewed and canned in Ontario. Yeah, easy for me to say. I'm not even.
It's a Canada thing tonight. I'm telling you, it's not
Ontario, Canada.
Right.
So they actually made this in Canada. So no, it did not come from.
They made
Stone's
it in Canada.
None of us
did send it to me.
None of us can speak tonight.
But Stone did send it to you.
Blame Canada.
Right. Now, obviously, the reason why the Anchor Steam deal didn't work out is because when Sapporo bought Anchor Steam, they realized that Anchor Steam couldn't make their beer. Their facility was not equipped to make the beer the way Sapporo wanted it made.
That's bad research.
Too much
to
retrofit it. Yeah, you would have thought they
should have investigated prior to purchasing it for that amount of money.
And you think the Japanese are pretty thorough about everything.
They're more careful than that.
Guy. Let's put it this way: Cape May was more thorough on Flying Fish's finances than Sapporo was on about Anchor Steam's ability to make beer. Very sad.
That's
crazy.
Yeah.
Well, the one thing when you came on that I did want to say to you, Al, is we almost jumped the gun. Is live long and prosper.
Yes.
You know what it is today, right?
Of course, that's the Vulcan salute.
No, you know what day it is today.
Well, it's Leonard. It's Happy Live Long and Prosper.
Prosper Day, right? Yeah.
Yeah, which is Leonard Nimoy's birthday.
Leonard Nimoy's birthday.
Correct. Right. Because William Shatner's birthday is this Friday.
No.
What do they call that? Overacting Day?
Yes, yes they do.
Bones.
They call it Overacting Day, or guys who get a picture with William Shatner.
Wait a second, you're stealing John's thing. You're stealing John's thing.
Hey, no, he does not. That's not a selfie.
Oh, that's right. That's not a selfie.
That's not a selfie.
That's true. That's a good point. That's right.
Have you ever seen that meme when they talk about the Oxford comma?
Yes.
At the walk-in comma.
Right.
The Shatner comma.
Where
the walk-in comma is like after every second or third word. The Shatner comma is after
every
single
word. Sentence. Right. Hey, but God bless him. He's in his 90s. He's still working. He still wants to work. He's still engaging people. Like if you engage him on Twitter, that's not somebody who has his account. That's him.
Yeah.
He's going back and forth with you. You know, he is. I have to say, I mean, he's an amazing human being for his age to be still active and involved and have his hands in so many different things.
Yeah,
it's remarkable. We should all be that. We should all be that lucky. At that
Absolutely.
age, you know?
If you ask some of his co-stars, they'd say that he's running strictly on ego now.
Hey, he's still here though, right? I mean,
he has. And the thing is, he's had his detractors through the years, but many of his detractors through the years have backed off of it a bit. You know, because he's chilled through the years. He's run out of fucks to give.
Right. And he's learned to make fun of himself.
Yes.
He has no problem with that. I mean, the last time we had him on with Joe Piscopo, first thing he says every time he comes on, Joe, you still working out? You still got muscles? You still, you're still a manly man. Like, I mean, he's right into it and engaging. So it's, it's pretty cool. And every time I talk to him, I'm just like, ha, Captain Kirk. I'm an idiot. So.
Jeez. Dave, what are you drinking?
I'm drinking this. It's in a mechanical glass, but it's actually from Oak Flower. This is Station, which is their Kolsch. This is such a beautiful, clean German-style Kolsch. It's one of my favorite Kolsches brewed in this country. It's just it's a perfect Kolsch. I'm
Colin
sure
does
that-
an amazing job there.
Yeah.
Colin and Chris do great work over there.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's phenomenal. If you have not been there, you absolutely should make a stop there. It's a
absolutely.
great little spot. Yes, it gets crowded very quickly. They've expanded it a little bit to give themselves some more space. And for what
they
Colin
got that
was telling me
side
they're
room.
doing, right? But in that side room, they have room now to start doing some barreling and start barrel aging some stuff. So
little extra room for the tap room. There's an
Yeah.
extra side room that they could do some barreling and some other stuff. Yeah, absolutely. So
right, but it's a great spot. And then you want to go get something to eat. The Sterling Hotel is literally 10 minutes away. Fantastic tap selection. The food is
depends how you drive. I made it there in 5.
okay. I mean,
I was
if you
hungry.
go up the hill, it takes 10. If you go the other way, it takes 5. I mean, we want
Oh yeah, no. Go down to Valley. You can drive faster on Valley and then cut up. It's actually
there you go.
It's not as pretty a drive.
So it's 5 to 10 minutes away.
Right, exactly.
That's a fair estimation right there.
I think it's a pretty good estimate.
Oh, you've been there.
Yeah. Exactly.
If you haven't, what are you waiting for? It's probably the OG of craft beer in New Jersey.
You want to get there. You want to get there.
Yeah.
It's one of them, definitely. That and Andy's.
Right.
Andy's Cloverleaf. We got a comment from Brian Boak. Says good evening. Good evening, Brian.
Speaking of OGs.
Speaking of OGs, there you go.
Yeah.
I just for the record, I am enjoying a Golden Tiger from
that's such a good beer.
Wayfinder. It's their Polotomave.
I got a couple of those from what you call it, and I mean they were gone within like an hour of me receiving them.
Oh yeah, I got a couple, and one was gone.
So
I saved one. I saved one for this show.
We're on it.
I think you should be. There you go. And I put it in the shameless plug glassware.
Nice.
Next to the shameless plug shirt, the shameless plug hat,
Tap,
and in the background of all the shameless plug cans.
shameless plug tap handle.
Oh, tap handles. No, show us that. I haven't seen this yet.
See, I can't do Tavor.
Oh,
if I do Tavor,
you'll be broke.
If I do Tavor, right, I'd be broke, number one. Second, I'd probably be divorced. And third, I'd be a raging alcoholic. Like, there's so much stuff out there that you just want to click. Like, the Rush beers are a perfect example because you can only buy them from,
Halftime. Yep.
But they're so expensive. And then they're like, oh, you can pick them up. And I look and I go, I'm not driving an hour and 15 minutes to Mamaroneck to go pick up my beer. I mean, that's insane. Even if I went from the city, it would still be over an hour. And then I go, no, I can't do this. Like, I have friends that live up there and I'm tempted to call and say, hey, by the way, if I, would you, but I don't even want to put them out. I like what I get when I get it. And, if I see something in the store and like, especially one liquor store by me, they carry more timber ales than anybody else I've seen in New Jersey. And anytime I see timber ales in that store, I have to get it because that guy makes awesome stouts.
Gotcha. Yeah, I do. I do the same thing. What's that?
I forgot to empty my crate. And I just had one ship on me.
Okay. Empty your crate or no way?
Well, I was. It was one. No, it was one of those things where I was drinking, like going to work. Well, that's cool. I've done this before, and there's some Jester King in it and Revolution, so that's cool.
The last crate I got was from Tavor was in November, and I promised myself I'm taking a break, right? So then I happened to go on it maybe 2 weeks ago, week and a half ago, and Revolution had a single Bach. So I'm like, all right, I'm going to order it. I'm going to push it out. I'm going to order maybe tops 6 cans. It's got to be worth it, right? Because they're still charging you the money for the shipping, no matter how many. It's the same price whether you get 1 or 30. It's the same price to ship. So I'm like, all right, I'll get 6 cans. That'll be worth it. So I got one of them, right? I'm already up to 10 cans. All right. And I still got another 3 weeks to go in the crate. And right. And there's a couple of bigger bottles in there. And the fact of the matter is I only ordered one of those box. Matt had one in his box. He got it in. He had it the other night. He said it's one of the best things he's had in a long time. And I'm kicking myself that I only ordered one.
Well, the beer that you're drinking now by Wayfinder, I've got 2 of their 3 of Hearts cold, not lager coming.
There you go. Very nice. Very nice.
And Revolution, I've got a barrel-aged stout and another barrel-aged stout called Death on Cherries.
Death by Cherries, yeah.
I'm surprised that more Revolution isn't in the state. I know they made a big push years ago when they came in.
I wish more was here. Yeah,
Peerless, and I think they've pretty much done away with most of the Revolution stuff except the basic, IPA and stuff.
The basic IPAs or the basic IPAs, anti-hero, and a couple of the variants and all of that. That's what's coming to the state.
Yeah,
you got to get up to, like, I see more Revolution up in Boston when I go up to Boston than I do down here. But Revolution's been in Boston for years longer than they've been in Jersey.
Oh yeah, no, yeah, but but Revolution's been in New Jersey now for what? Got to be 7 years.
Yeah,
it's
for a
been
while.
eight, I believe 8 years.
Yeah,
8 years. Yeah,
you'd think that they would do more of a
no,
I don't know,
almost 9 because
almost 9, right?
I was out at the brewery in October of 2015, and they had just started shipping to Jersey before that. So like this July, August, so 9 years.
Okay, so that was a year before my. Okay, yeah. So 9 years. Wow.
9 years, yeah. So, Brian, by the way, Brian Boak is enjoying a home brewed Boak's beer, 2 Blind Monks.
Cheers to that.
Very nice.
Cheers, Brian. Yeah. So, all right. Yeah, this is it's Politomavi. This is pretty good. It's a little lighter than their typical Politomavi, but it's still not much, a little bit, but it's delicious.
I have to tell you, I think they've changed the recipe on the Sapporo a little bit. It tastes a little sweeter than it used to.
Okay,
like just a hint sweeter, but it's.
Do you think they're adding a beer? You think they're adding a little corn or a different type of rice?
I think it's a different type of rice.
Yeah,
that's what, because it has a very big sweetness on the nose, but it's delicious. I mean, I could blow through the 6-pack in it, in a heartbeat. It's that, it's that tasty.
Unless it's just the fact that you're drinking one that's brewed in Canada and not in.
It's maybe it's the maple syrup just
could be
dating. Yeah,
it's just the ambient maple syrup
in the air,
just
that are
in the air. Yeah,
just like
it's just through osmosis right into the cans.
It's funny too because anytime I listen to Rush, I smell maple syrup.
Oh, there you go.
It's
so of course there's no date on the can, so
there
unfortunately.
So anyway, cool. All right,
so, what's happening? Stuff going on?
There's stuff going on. Well, first of all, the last time you were on was our big beer show, our New Year's show.
Right.
Oh yeah.
Right.
And
I was quite inebriated.
That was an inebriation day.
Yeah. Was I there?
Celebratory day.
Yes.
Hey, you were there.
I remember I got off. We got off and I grabbed another something. I had something in the fridge and I drank that. And then I walked up 2 flights of stairs and people were like, "Oh my God, are you going to get home okay?" I'm like, if I can't make it up 2 flights of stairs, I just stay in the basement. It's fine. I'm good.
Exactly.
But, yeah.
But which we call it? Yeah, that was good. But the last time before that you were on, we were talking about obviously the bill that was still floating back and forth in the Senate and everything else in New Jersey. Well, obviously, we've talked about it on the show already, but having you on, it's been a couple of months, but it got passed and the regulations got loosened in Jersey. So this is a good thing.
No, it's a great thing. I think it comes a little too late though, obviously for some.
Correct.
Because you've had elementary closing, you have who's the other one that I'm thinking of?
Forgotten Boardwalk.
Forgotten Boardwalk. I mean, and all of them for different reasons, right?
Yeah.
I mean, some of it having to do with the restrictions, but some of it not. And I think that from a political standpoint, I'll do this for just a second. This now shows you that the governor doesn't have the power that he had 2 years ago. The legislature basically dictated to him how things were going to run here on this beer bill. We want to support the breweries. We're not willing to support anything else. We'll give you a little bit, but we're not giving you the whole enchilada. That has to be down the road in another discussion. He thought he was just going to ram his thing through and, everything was going to be copacetic. They turned the tables on him a little bit. And I think he's seeing that now. And don't be surprised over these next 2 years, you're not going to see anything move when it comes to liquor or licensing or anything like that. And I think even further down the road, which is a shame because I think there does need to be more reform in the state, not just with the breweries, but with other things as well. But I think now the legislature is basically like, we're done. That's it. This is, unless somebody else starts putting up a bigger stink, we're not touching this for the foreseeable future.
Which is a shame because there's a few other things that really would be inconsequential to the restaurant lobby and,
Right.
and liquor license holders and everything else, but would continue to help perpetuate the growth and expansion of the craft beer industry in Jersey.
Oh, 100%.
And
100%.
they're minor things too. It's stuff that would, like I said, inconsequential to anyone else, but could prove to be huge to some extent to some breweries. And,
Well, but
it's a shame that they wouldn't, if it doesn't, some way be able to work out.
But here's the thing. I think some breweries in New Jersey sort of hedged their bet and said, we know that this is going to pass. We know that the changes are going to get made to our liking, and started to think about it even over the summer when a lot of people were saying, I don't know if my business can survive. I mean, everybody was talking that talk. Every brewery was talking that talk that, look, if things don't change, I may have to, pull up stakes and move out, or I have to shut everything down and, jobs are going to be lost. Others may have been saying that, but we're also planning, hey, look, there's a chance he signs this. Because remember, the governor was silent from June until late September when he finally said, I'm going to veto this, and then didn't veto it until November, and then the clock started running with those 6 weeks, and they got, right down to the wire. So I think the breweries that adapted to the environment and said, hey, look, we're going to start planning some things because I think this is going to go through. And when it does, we're ready and hit the ground running.
Right.
And others didn't. And here's a good example. Departed Souls in Jersey City has been going through the roughest time. They make great beer. Their tap room is nice, but it's small. They have no parking where they are.
No.
It's a nightmare to go there with a car and try and park. Public transportation is there, but it's not exactly convenient, right?
Yeah, it's not close.
No, and Brian was struggling, but he was doing his best to keep cranking stuff out and do things and get things done, and just let me get to this point. Let me get to this point. If I can get here, I can move on. He had all kinds of logistical problems. He had his refrigerator went. He had all kinds of issues, but he dealt with it and he weathered the storm and he made it through. And now, with the beer bill in place, he's partnered up with a parking garage. He's they're doing food stuff. He's doing all these different things. It's opened him up to making the changes that he really wants to make. And I'm sure he's thriving, probably a little bit, not leaps and bounds where he wants to be, but at least he's moving in the right direction.
In the right direction, exactly.
Yeah.
You had a brewery like Elementary, which was a staple in North Jersey for years. And
this May would have been their 8th anniversary.
8th.
Right. So Mike and Blake decided years ago, even before all of this stuff, our big thing is distro. We want to get our beers out. We want to help other people if they want to make beer. So they built a facility to do that, right? They didn't do anything with their tap room. They sort of, fixed things up, but couldn't expand on it because of the property limitations. They didn't own the property. They're renting it. So now you run into a situation where a pandemic hits. You have no space. You can't crank your beers out fast enough to get them out to people who are trying to come and support you. Your distro goes downhill because nobody's buying beer from out of state. It's very tough. Everybody's trying to, make ends meet, and they didn't adapt to the time. And I think had they maneuvered themselves a little differently, maybe they would still be here. Maybe they would still be thriving. That's the thing. I think it's how you adapt. Forgotten Boardwalk was a simple situation of, their landlord decided, look, you're using X amount of space, but you're using other parts of the space. You need to pay for it. I mean, that's the, I don't think, maybe I'm telling the tale out of school, but at this point, they're closed. What difference does it make? I mean, they had an enormous space that they were renting. They were only paying rent on a portion of it and still using the other space. So the landlord came in and said, look, you got to pay for this.
Right.
With
the way properties are right now in not just residential, commercial and warehousing and everything else, it's insane what it was. I mean, you go back, and I mean, right before the pandemic, you go back 5 years, 6 years.
Right.
It's tripled the amount of money that they're making on warehouse space is tripled per square foot.
But it's all of it.
Insane.
It's houses, it's mortgages.
It's everything. It's everything. Yeah. It's absolutely.
When I moved in the midst of the pandemic, I locked in on a mortgage at 3%. The rate now is close to 7%. That's a huge jump. A lot of businesses, even making money, can't afford that. So I get Forgotten Boardwalk's issue that, hey, listen, it's not so easy to just pick up equipment and move to another spot when the spot you want to move to is even priced out even more than it was even 3 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
So I understand those things, but I think that's where you need somebody who has a good financial sense to understand the ebb and flows of what happened. The other part of it is, and again, I know that a lot of breweries can't do this because they have to spend their money on the equipment and the grain and all the other stuff, and costs have all gone up, is buying a piece of property. The breweries that are surviving, most of them either have long-term leases that don't come up for another 5-6 years, and they're hoping they can renegotiate with the landlord, or some of them have outright bought their properties. So they're paying the mortgage and they own it. And at least, hey, if something goes wrong, I can sell this piece and recoup some of my money at some point. Right. So it's a slippery slope. And so that's why I think the all these changes with beer, if Murphy had signed the bill in June as is, and they worked on the other stuff, I think there's a good case that those two businesses, at the very least, Elementary and Forgotten Boardwalk, would not be out of business right now.
What about Tuckahoe?
They were done.
Tuckahoe was done. Right.
I thought they were, that's why I brought them up.
The owners,
because they closed in November, right?
Yeah. They're Tuckahoe, and then earlier last year, I think it was last April, Kelly Green. Both of those two breweries, they were done. They ran the course. They did their thing. They were happy for it. Moving on to other things. Time to close. Thank you.
Yeah, they got out. They got out before finances, crippled them. Lunacy got out because they just couldn't do it anymore. The proxy, and I had never been there. I'd had a couple of their beers, at the AC Beer Fest, but I'd never been to the place. But I guess they were having an issue of drawing people in, and with the restrictions, it was not cost effective for them, and so they had to get out. Now, will they reopen again somewhere? Who knows? Maybe they will. But it's different. It's different thing. I think now that the restrictions have loosened, you're seeing breweries, partner up with people, finally, and saying, hey, look, we can do all these things. And both people make money. Yeah. And it's a good thing. And it's good. And it's not hurting the restaurants. I said this before to you guys on this show. I've said it on my show. If you're making good food and good drink, people are going to come in and populate your restaurant. Absolutely. If your food is garbage, I don't care what craft beer you have on tap. I don't care if your taps are clean. You got a guy in the back and he's cranking beer out left and right. People aren't coming in. It's plain and simple.
Yep, exactly. We have a quick comment here from Rod J. Beer Ventures. Cheers, gents, off of YouTube. Cheers, gents. Heard Murphy, so I know talking New Jersey breweries, he said.
Yes, we are.
Yes, we are, Rod.
Now we also had one of our longtime mainstay breweries go file for bankruptcy. Flying Fish.
Flying Fish. Yes.
Right.
Well, that was all thing last year. They were trying to get bought out by Cape May, and we talked about it on this show at the beginning and the end of that whole thing.
Right.
I was on
and they pulled out of it.
They pulled out. So yeah, they couldn't. They were too far gone, too far down the rabbit hole, so to speak. So
they couldn't absorb the debts.
Right. But here's the problem: when you have a venture company acquire you, it's very difficult to get out from under that, right? Their bottom line is, how am I going to make the most amount of money on my investment in the shortest period of time? He had too much debt. They couldn't make the numbers work. And so, Weyerbacher had a similar situation. Guy was in debt, had a lot of debt load, sold it to a venture capitalist, and another guy came in, a husband and wife from Pittsburgh, who had, I guess, the guy or his wife had grown up in Easton and decided, you know what, we're going to take a play on this, and bought it from the venture capitalist, and they're thriving now. Same recipes, doing some different things, changing it up a little bit, but they're doing well. And that's the thing with Flying Fish that they never did. Like, if it's not working, you need to change things. Flying Fish hadn't been relevant forever. I mean, easily it's 8 years, 9 years.
And it's funny because the comment that we just got brought up the point I was going to bring up. Flying Fish as a brand isn't dead.
Right. The brewery, the ownership, everything, that's all gone. But I'll put it up. Rod J. Beer Ventures just said, funny you mentioned Flying Fish. We were just about to bring that up. The recipes and rights were purchased, all of their intellectual property, all the recipes, all the rights to all their social media, all their web work, all their branding, everything was purchased by Guilford Hall Brewery, which Rod frequents there in Baltimore. They will still be distributing their name on the East Coast.
Except
Right, so
the Exit series isn't going to make much sense down there.
No, it's not. But I mean,
Right.
but here's the thing. So they didn't get the building, but do they get to distro in Jersey, or they just took the Flying Fish name and it's theirs?
No, it's it's the intellectual property. So they'll have to work out distribution in Jersey.
Yeah.
Okay.
So unless they already have distribution in Jersey, whatever said.
Right.
It's it's just like if you go back, we talked about we talked about. I'll put up Rod's comment in a minute. Duclaw purchased by a River Horse, right?
Right.
It's River Horse's brand. It's another brand that River Horse has. It's not Duclaw as it used to be. It's still Duclaw, all the recipes, everything, the intellectual property. That's what.
So I'm wondering if this company is just going to flip it, make the Flying Fish beer down there, get a Jersey distributor, and then send it up.
Right. Well, that's exactly what they could do, and then they could, of course, distribute it in Maryland as well, Delaware, Virginia, wherever. Rod also said South Jersey born, by the way, he is, and one of his classmates and friends is co-founder of Spellbound. Rod, which one is it? Is it John or is it Mike? Which co-founder of Spellbound is it? Because we're good friends with Spellbound guys. So while you answer that question, Rod, he also said they took the name and recipes, waiting to see himself. He just had and did Flying Fish's ice cream stout a little bit ago. He said, "Yeah, it's
there you go."
Good. Oh, it's Scott. It's the other one. Yeah, it's Scott. Yeah. So it's John, Mike, and Scott. Matt, Jim, and I actually took a picture with Mike, Jim, John, and Scott 2 years ago at their anniversary. So
I can't keep track of this.
So I'm going to the non-alcoholic.
You're going non-alcoholic. There you go. A little NA beer.
So my buddy from Athletic sent me a couple of things. I just had last week their dry Irish stout, which I actually was very good. And they did a triple IPA. Now, I don't know why you would do a triple non-alcoholic IPA,
It makes no sense.
but I have to exactly. But I have to tell you, might be the best one that I've had from Athletic Brewing so far. It tasted like a triple. I mean, it and didn't have all of that that chemical or whatever aftertaste that non-alcoholic beers seem to have.
Right.
It was actually quite enjoyable, though he told me that they're going to have to change the name of it because somebody else has a similar name and they already had sent them a cease and desist. So
is that right?
I guess, yeah.
Well, I opened my second as well a little while ago. I'm kind of nursing it a bit.
I just want to pull up the picture. There you go. So
let's John do a selfie thing before I.
No, it's not a selfie. It's a picture. That's for Rod. That's the picture of me, Matt, and Jim with John, Mike, and Scott. There you go.
There it is.
At their anniversary. There you go.
That looks every bit like a blueberry.
Absolutely,
it does look a blueberry.
It does. It does look very bluish. Yeah.
But and it's got a blueberry.
How he tastes in there.
There we go.
Not bad. Not great, but not bad.
Rod's a cool pick. Thanks, Rod. Appreciate it. It's a couple years ago. Is it you getting blueberry notes? Not overpowering, but is there
blueberry? And it's not overpowering. It's actually not too bad. I had the Dogfish other half collab. They did like a blueberry.
Yep.
Dogfish's take on other half's blueberry beer, and that was a little interesting to say. This is not terrible.
Nice.
This is not terrible. I could drink this.
Dave, you're second.
Well, you are drinking it.
You are drinking
No, I know.
We're watching you drink it, so it's obvious.
Sometimes with these things, if I don't like it, I just drain pour it because I'm not going to waste.
He could drink. What are you saying? He could drink the rest of it.
Yes.
Oh, that's what he meant. There
you go.
That's exactly what
I was going to say. He can drink. You can drink any liquid, technically.
Well, you can. You might not enjoy it, but you can drink whatever you want.
Right. That's right.
Just saying. Okay. No. What am I drinking?
What are you drinking? Yes. What are you drinking?
Because I can drink this too. It's Cafe Bergsteiger. This is from Treehouse.
Treehouse.
This is a coffee.
See, I don't have that one. I kept with the crawl up because this is your third beer is going to be the other oak flower. So
yes, third beer. I did send you the second beer one.
No, you didn't. You sent me. No, you didn't. That's fine. It's all good.
Yeah, I did.
Well, you can talk about it now. I don't need to know. That's fine. If you sent it, you sent it.
Anyway,
It's anyway means he didn't send it. There you go.
No, I did. No.
There you go. Anyway, guys, talk about the beer.
I'll send you a screenshot so you can post it.
Good.
No, let's see. It's a coffee Schwarzbier.
Uh-oh.
That's exactly what this is. It's a Schwarzbier. The coffee doesn't completely overpower it, as you would think it would.
Very nice.
You can actually separate the coffee roast from the beer roast.
Very nice. Very nice.
Which is really
Treehouse doesn't make a bad beer. I mean, come on.
They don't.
No.
And Dave, I will kowtow, and I will tell you that you did indeed send it. I didn't see it.
No, but the thing is, this happens all the time where I will send John something and he actually never gets it because his phone hates him.
Is that like the message that I sent him tonight? We had this conversation. So 3 weeks ago, he says, "Can you come on?" And I said, "I can't do this night." And then he said, "Well, how about this date or this date?" And I said, "Yeah, either of them should be fine. Just let me know." And he says, "I'll let you know." And you know when he let me know? When he posted
tonight.
I'm going to.
By the way, I went back and looked after I told you. I did send a message immediately after. It was like a minute later, and I said, "Let's do the 19th." And I left it at that. I didn't hear back from you. No. I didn't send it to you. You know who I sent it to?
Who'd you send it to?
Jess.
Oh, good. Yeah. And I'm sure she was like,
how it got to her, and she never said a word about it. She didn't.
Right.
Like, if she said,
I could do the 19th, the 20th, the 21st, the 22nd.
Like, what are we doing on the 19th, right?
So basically, what did you agree to do on the 19th with Jess?
I don't know. I'm a little nervous.
Wait till she gets home.
Right.
Because you bought into something.
That's it. I thought we were doing the 19th. What?
Yeah.
Huh? Okay.
We're going curtain shopping.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly.
At 9 o'clock at night.
I want a little redemption, though. I apologize, Dave. I want a little redemption. How did you get that beer you're drinking?
John hoofed this back from Massachusetts for me.
Wow.
It was one of those things we've said on the show a few times where John's like, okay, he went to Rhode Island and stopped at Treehouse. I'm like, you want anything? I'm like, how much are you willing to bring back? And he said, just place your order, I'll bring it back. And much to his chagrin, it was 2.5 cases.
Wow.
It's not often that I'm able to get my hands on the whole thing.
No. That's one of those things. If somebody is stopping there and they're willing to mule it back for you, you get whatever you can get.
I gave him the shot to opt out.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I was.
But like a mensch, he didn't.
I took care of it
and brought it all down, and I'm almost through it all. Still got some of the Rauks left.
Very nice.
I think this is the last non-Rauk, I believe.
Last non-Rauk. I will. I'll show you my second beer here. I'm also drinking.
We showed you ours, so
yeah, it's time for me to show you mine. I'm also drinking a Treehouse. It's Warm Your Bones. It's their winter warmer.
That's a nice beer.
That's tasty beer. All right. I figured since we have approximately 4 hours left of winter, I'm drinking more of a winter theme. Finishing some winters up. So my third one will be winter-esque as well. So Warm Your Bones. Paul Tamave, you can go drink whenever, but
nice.
This one is pretty tasty. And let me pour a little bit more in the glass here. In my Treehouse Tiku.
There you go. Proper glassware.
There you go. Cheers.
Yeah, I poured mine into my shilling glass because I love my shilling glass, and I feel like
shilling glass is very nice.
Glass.
Tap New York glass from Bethel. Nice. Although they canceled it this year, so
they did. Yeah. They did. Tap New York's always fun. I love Tap New York.
I was very disappointed when they had it at Bethel, obviously because it was like
it was better at Hunter. It was better at Hunter.
That's what everybody said.
Better,
but apparently they were selling tickets for this year's event, and about a month ago they pulled out. They had a disagreement with Bethel on how they wanted to do things, and they pulled out. And everyone's like, "Well, can't you just find another venue?" And they said, "No, we can't. We want to give you the experience that you deserve. So we're canceling it for this year. Everybody's going to get refunded, and they're going to be someplace else."
I don't know. I mean, I'm curious. I never went. I never asked anybody, and I'd be curious to find out. Like, was there a reason that they left Hunter? Because it was the mainstay there.
Hunter was sold, and the new owners did not want to do a beer fest.
Right, fair enough.
Right.
There you go. Yeah.
So that's the reason why they didn't go back to Hunter, and everybody Right. And people were complaining on their page, and they said, look, it's out of our control. The people sold it, and the people there don't want a beer event. Bethel was the one that stepped up and said, we'll do it at our place. But people were complaining both years that they did it. The layout, Bethel is kind of isolated, Bethel Woods. There's really not a lot of accommodations and stuff nearby. Everything is a considerable distance. Right. Unless you have friends that live up there that you can stay, you're really struggling to find a hotel or an Airbnb or something like that. So I think people were very upset at the remoteness of the location. So I guess Tap New York is going to, come up with something else. They'll be at a different place, but it'll be next year.
Fair enough. Got a couple of comments here. Just want to catch up with them a couple of seconds. He goes, back to your athletic beer. Gene Lynch said, not terrible. How many stars on Untapped?
That's it. Gene, it's probably going to be like a 3.25.
3.25.
Yeah.
There you go. That's good. That's solid. That's solid.
About
especially
right where
it's an NA.
Yeah. It's about right where it would be.
There you go.
3.25.
And I'll because he'll bust my chops if I don't put this message up. He said, John's terrible at responding to texts. Hello.
He gets a little distracted sometimes.
Sometimes.
I might have something going on here, something going on there.
Gene's not wrong here.
Brian said his second is homebrewed Boak's beer Wooden Beanie.
Wooden Beanie.
Very tasty beer. Very tasty beer. And Rod also commented, so y'all in South Jersey then, South Jersey-ish, Central, if you want to call Central.
Central Jersey exists.
Central Jersey exists. I'm the South of the three of us. I'm the most South.
Yes.
You're technically in South Jersey.
I'm technically in. I'm right on the cusp.
I'm technically in Central Jersey.
You're technically in Central Jersey.
South Jersey. The borderline between Central and South is Route 70.
Oh, then without
John's north of John's north of 70.
Yeah, I'm a couple miles north of Route 70, so I'm like right near the border, right? So, but
you're still in Central.
He's pork roll. I'm Taylor ham.
Right.
Yes,
exactly.
Yeah.
Right.
But you got to remember that Taylor ham is really just like the upper northwest corner,
northeast
corner, right? It's just and like. So much more of Jersey's.
If Union County, Essex County, Hudson County, Passaic County, Bergen County. That's pork roll. That's Taylor ham. Everywhere else is pork roll.
Right.
Pork roll.
Pretty much.
Although I will tell you now,
Camden is Scrapple.
So. Camden is Scrapple. Well,
Camden's Philly.
Camden is Philly. Yeah, exactly.
Exactly.
Rudolph continues to say, last time back up he hit about the hops. And had previously checked out Brew Littles, Dr. Brew Littles. Yes, Dr. Brew Littles was good. Would have loved to have hit Forgotten Boardwalk before they closed. And ironically...
You could have played some skee ball.
Yeah, there you go. And Rod, ironically, we're talking about Forgotten Boardwalk and Flying Fish. They're related because Forgotten Boardwalk was in Flying Fish's original space before they expanded and moved to where they were. So, there you go. And he just said, oh, yeah, no Central Jersey, too. There you go.
And I'm the furthest north of us.
You are the furthest north. You used to be the furthest south. Well, that was back when you were in high school. But.
Yeah, and but now I'm basically in New York City. There just seems to be this wide river separating.
You're a basic New York City bitch is what you are.
You can take out basic and New York City.
This is true. This is true.
But yeah, no, it's like I look out the window. There's the city.
There you go.
It's right there.
So it's a sad state of affairs when any brewery closes for whatever reason. I mean, sure, like we said, we
can probably think of a brewery or two that would close and we wouldn't shed a tear.
Yeah, but we're not going to talk about them on this.
We won't talk.
We don't belittle anybody. But in any event,
except each other,
right, on a regular basis.
Right.
But in any event, whatchamacallit, and even the ones that, like we talked about before, like Tuckahoe or Kelly Green that closed, you feel bad for the staff, right? Because the staff didn't want to close. The ownership was done. Staff probably wasn't done, right?
And their fan base.
And their fan base, right? Exactly. Right. So, but whatever the case may be, any brewery closure is sad to a point. The ones that have to close because of financial reasons. Because financial reasons beyond their control too.
Yeah.
not just anything that they self-inflicted, so to speak, right? Anything that was,
And to be fair, it's not indicative just of New Jersey. I mean, we're
no,
seeing
of course.
breweries
Just going
across
to
the
say the
country.
same thing.
We're seeing breweries across the country that are closing for whatever reason, whether it's expenses or breweries that are laying off staff. Look what happened with Cigar City.
Cigar City,
just recent. That was just a week ago.
Last week,
and the fact that Monster bought them after they were sort of in a conglomerate, but I think wasn't part of it owned by a hedge fund or something? Wasn't there? There was some.
Yeah, there was.
There was.
I don't know if it was a hedge fund, but it was an investment group.
Canarchy.
Right.
Canarchy.
Right.
But it was an investment group. It's not like your typical venture capitalists. This group specialized in beer.
Right.
They didn't want to change it.
Oscar Blues was part of it. A couple others. Everything else. Yeah.
Right. So when Monster comes in and acquires them, here's a company that makes an energy drink and thinks, we could save money by just putting it all in one place and just doing the recipes. So that's why they whacked the head brewer at Cigar City, which is absurd.
That is the biggest shame.
Like, how did somebody not come to them? How did somebody not come to them and go, look, the brewmaster at Oscar Blues, has his own recipes for stuff. Cigar City has their own recipes. We may not necessarily use the same thing. Our techniques may be different. How we make recipes or whatever. Like, why would you do that and consolidate it all into one thing? Now, I know Budweiser did that with, some of their breweries when they were consolidating stuff, and Blue Point was being made in Newark and whatever, and this and that, or being outsourced upstate, this, that. But, I should say, Budweiser has the space to put, each of their beers in different vessels, right? I mean, how much space did Monster have? Did they buy an enormous facility and say, these 3 tanks are Oscar Blues, these 3 tanks are Cigar City, and those barrels are yours, and these barrels are that? I mean, it seemed like a very short-sighted decision.
But even taking the details out of that, I'm befuddled by the fact that Wayne is no longer at Cigar City. Wayne was Cigar City. Most of the beers you've ever enjoyed out of there, that's Wayne. And now he's not there. It's like, so yeah, Cigar City's still there. They're still brewing the beer and the recipes, but is it going to be Cigar City without Wayne at the helm?
Right.
Yeah.
That's the hard part of it. I remember the first Hunapoo I went down to. We were, poured for carton. We were wearing a shirt that said Wayne's Way because Augie named a beer after him. He actually took a beer. He took, I think it was regular coffee, and no, it wasn't. It was Swisher. It was Cherry Swisher.
I was going to say
he took Cherry Swisher, and he put in cedar staves because Humidor, right? The Humidor series, to honor the Humidor series and honor Wayne. So it was basically Cherry Swisher on cedar, and that's the beer one of the 3 beers that we poured while we were there. So, when you get someone like Augie who pretty much has this hero worship of somebody, and then all of a sudden that person, because he doesn't hero worship a lot of people. You can name him on the breweries. I
just want to pause you for 1 second.
I said it twice.
That's twice. Yeah.
But it has to be the full name or just the first name?
Just the first name.
So, it doesn't have a lot of hero worship out of him. So that was one of them, and he's not there anymore. And that's I think the biggest sadness out of it.
Yeah.
And to do it now, I know he left in February, but to make the announcement after Hunapoo Day is kind of crappy.
Yeah, that's bullshit.
You know what I mean? Like, you got all these people coming there to buy this, this product that, people wait a year to get, and it sells out so fast. Yeah. And basically, hey, buddy, it's your last bottle. Thanks for your 16 years. Take care. I mean, really?
Yeah.
That's not cool.
No, it's not. It's absolutely horrible. And obviously this is another, another type of, and hopefully it's just, an isolated incident with this particular, and of course it's got to be, right? Well, it doesn't have to be, but for the most part. But there's breweries closing because they want to, they're done. Breweries closing because they're forced to, whether it's landlords or financials or whatever. This just sucks flat out.
Right.
This is just short-sighted, uninformed, corporate bullshit, is what this basically
Yes, it is.
100%.
Yeah.
And
But
if somebody in Florida is smart, they would grab him immediately.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
But, you know,
the guy who makes great beer.
He's going to land somewhere.
Yeah.
But the thing is, but part of this is also because we're seeing breweries close across the country now. We're seeing a drop in beer sales overall. We're not talking just craft beer. We're talking overall beer sales.
Mm-hmm.
Even the big boys are starting to feel it because we do have the ready-to-drinks. We've got the non-alcoholics. You know that for a while, seltzer has been taking a huge
seltzers are taking a chunk. RTDs are taking a big chunk.
Right.
I'm not as big as seltzers, but they're taking a chunk. NAs are. I mean,
a small chunk.
It's small. It's micro. But the reason is that NAs are actually good now, as opposed to, or better.
Right. Better.
Much better than they used to be. Right. You know,
but we're also finding,
you go back 20 years. What did you have as far as an alcoholic beer? You had O'Toole's, you had Miller Sharps, and Coors Cutter.
Right. Coors Cutter.
And Beck's had one. Beck's had a
right. But you're seeing more of these big time breweries like Heineken and Bud and who's the latest? Blue Moon. They're all starting to come out with their own non-alcoholic beers because they know
Guinness and NA beer. We talked about Revolution before. Revolution has an NA beer now.
So the non-alcoholic beers are becoming a big deal because a lot of the audience that they are targeting now, not only it's just people that are working out and want to stay in shape and don't want to, whatever. It's that younger crowd between the ages of 21 and 35 that are saying, I don't drink. I don't drink a lot. I don't drink to excess. I want to hang out with my friends and make like I'm having a beer. And so this is an alternative.
Is that the equivalent of smoking a chocolate cigar?
Yeah. I mean, it is. Or they're doing other things. The fact that cannabis is legal in a lot of states now, and at some point there's going to be a tipping point at some point that the United States and federally they're going to make it, they're going to declassify it, and they're going to make it legal, or in some way, there's going to be some legality here. You've already got states that have things in place, and those places thrive. And kid says, "Hey, I take a little half of something, and I feel great. I don't need to drink."
Right.
So that's a problem for the craft brewer.
Yeah,
How do you combat that?
Yeah, I was going to say that too. That it's with the cannabis in certain states, obviously, that have it now. And it's one thing, and we're feeling a little bit in Jersey. Yeah. So,
but how do you combat that? Right? If I were a craft brewer, what I would do is instead of having, I know you've already gone out and you've bought, a system that's going to pour 20 beers, 30 beers, whatever it is. I would cut it down. I would cut it down to 10. Make 10 really great beers. Run the gamut. 2 are sub 5. 3 are between 6 and 8%. Then you have maybe a seltzer, a cider, or some alternative whatever. And the other 2 are big bangers. Whether it's a triple IPA, a stout, or something like that, and that's it. And that's how you sort of consolidate your cost, right? You're only making 10 beers.
Yep.
You're not making things for the masses. You're not making 25, 30 beers. That's how you get them in. And your beer's got to be good too.
I've got another idea though.
Hold that thought on that idea. No, hold that thought.
Why can't you hold your thought?
Because I have to say something to Al's point. Hold that thought. Take 2 seconds. 100%. Your beer, the liquid needs to be good. Okay, right. You need to brew good liquid. If you're not brewing good liquid, if you're brewing mediocre liquid, if you're brewing bad liquid, you're not going to make it. Eventually, you may continue to stay where you are with a local crowd, with people that are, for whatever reason, devotees, right? But that's all you're going to get. You're not going to. Eventually, it's going to catch up to you, but because eventually they're going to get tired of it because
That also depends, but that also depends on your business plan, right? What's your business plan? Is your plan to serve the community and just make a certain amount of beers and be happy with a certain amount of money? And if you hit that mark, that's great. Right. Or are you the brewery that says, hey, I'm doing great. I want to take it to the next level and step it up and start branching out and doing different things and this and that. That's where you have to kind of figure out where it is. I think Bakes is a perfect example. How many beers does he have on tap? 7?
6.
6. All of his beers are fantastic. 6 beers, that's it. But you know, if that's in your wheelhouse, then you're going to go there. You know, I mean, that's the thing. I think, you know, what Source does, you know, I've noticed from Source's standpoint, they don't release as many beers anymore. It used to be they'd
the last 2 weeks
in a shot.
Last 2 weeks,
right, the last 2 weeks have been one. So that's where they're being smart. Don't overextend.
Don't oversaturate. Don't go beyond your means. Tim.
Wet Ticket is another great example. Tim makes beers that he enjoys, but Tim doesn't go overboard. They have a very good distro. Their sales are good. People come into the brewery. They've extended their hours on Friday and Saturday. Now they're open till 10. They get a nice steady crowd. But he's very, you know, hey, we're here and we're going to stay here. I think the problem that some of these breweries have had, whether it's in New Jersey or the rest of the United States, they start to get ahead of themselves. They think of themselves as the next Trillium or Treehouse or, you know, whatever, North Park or whatever, this, that. And suddenly, you know, hey, you know what? We're not there anymore. How come people aren't coming in?
Right.
That's where I think you have to temper it down a little bit. Maybe you have to go back to the early days of Jersey breweries where there weren't as many, and you dial it back just a little bit. I want to see expansion in this state, but I think it has to be done in a way that makes sense. And don't keep throwing bad money at something to try and combat that. The drinker is different today than they were 5 years ago. How do you adapt to that to make it work?
100%. 100%. So,
Dave, how's your bracket?
What were we going to say? Yeah.
I just opened my third beer.
Hold on one second. With that, Rod just said younger generations. He just agreed with us. Younger generations are also drinking less alcohol, and one are opting for marijuana as an option as well, where illegal. Yep, absolutely.
Yep.
But there's a way to tie that in. Yeah, make the good beer, make the good liquid, and have a beer bong room.
A beer bong room.
Well, you're not going to do that in New Jersey, although I'm not giving anything away, but there's some things coming down the pike that you might be pleasantly surprised. It could be a game changer in New Jersey.
Pleasantly surprised. There we go. We got another comment from, I don't know who this person is, Kerry something. That's a great point. Many breweries close fairly early. They need to adapt. There you go. 100%.
If you adapt, you win.
Who is that picture in?
Some ugly ass dude.
I don't know who that is.
Who is she with?
He looks very pensive.
He does.
Whenever you have your hand, when anybody has their hand on their chin like this, it's always they must be thinking of something. At that point, Dave was going,
is that what that means?
I'd like to have another beer.
I thought that means that you were from Pennsylvania.
Pensive. That's not. It's not pensive. It's the Pennsylvania.
Oh.
There you go.
Had that word wrong.
In case you care, in the play-in game, second half, Wagner, the Seahawks are up on Howard Bison right now, 44-31.
44-31, really, in the second half.
With 17:05 to go in the second half.
Oh wow, 44-31. That's
they're only playing. First off, Staten Island. I'm very happy that they're representing, and they only have 7 players. They have so many injuries.
They only
filled it with 7 players. Yeah, my son-in-law to be actually attended Wagner for his freshman and sophomore year, or just freshman. He graduated from Ramapo, but he started at Wagner. So
that's not good news for one of my friends who graduated from Howard.
There you go.
I'm sure I'll see it later on Facebook if he's. I'm sure he's paying attention.
There you go. All right, what's your third beer that you opened there, Samurai?
Oh, so another oak flower, as was mentioned, and this is it's a collab with Autodidact, and this is Parallel Lines, Oakie's version, and it's a new. Guess what kind of IPA it is?
That is a West Coast.
Yeah, it's nice and hazy.
It's a Cascadian Dark Ale.
It's got some really good. Cascadian Dark Ale. That iteration of Black IPA lasted how long before that was nixed? Because not all of them were brewed with Cascade hops.
Well, that's true. That's true. And John Starodomsky on his craft beer reviews, or actually, I was on something. I think it was on Lou Bryson's post. yesterday on Facebook.
Is that Peebo's brother?
Peebo Bryson, yeah, Bryson. He whatchamacallit, he was saying that black India Black Ale or India Dark Ale, that's what it was.
Yeah.
So it's not because the statement is black IPA. A beer can't be black and pale at the same time.
No, it can't.
IPA, the P in IPA is pale. So a beer can't be black and pale. So it should be India Dark Ale.
And someone who will go.
Because there is an India Brown Ale. We know what it is.
Yeah, it's Dogfish Heads.
Dogfish Heads India Brown Ale. All right.
Yeah, that's
so
good.
It's India Dark Ale. It should be. But anyway, go ahead, continue.
I don't mind an India Black Ale. Mm-hmm. But anyway, that's what I'm drinking. It's got. This is classic any IPA. It's got all those flavors. The oats are there. Obviously, you can see them.
Obviously.
But yeah, there's that dip of sweetness to it. It's a very well done dip, and this is what I love about the beer. I don't buy a lot of dippas, but what I love about the beer is the fact that it is.
Because you are one, that's why you don't have to buy a lot of them.
The Pink Boots Society.
Pink Boots. There you go.
Well, you're a dipper too. Gene's a dipper.
Would you like to be a dipper too?
Al, you're already in one of our idiot groups. You don't need to be in that idiot group.
Yeah, that's true. Right, so that's number 3. This is Tornado Joe with Thunder Kiss Coffee, and it is this is Brewdog. This is a non-alcoholic stout.
But it's Brewdog. So does it mean that they put it out with a lightning rod so lightning would hit the fermenter a few times while it was
I guess. I don't know.
Because Brewdog does some crazy stuff.
They do, but this is
so some of their beers are so high in alcohol that their non-alcoholic beer could be 10%.
This is true.
That's a good point.
Exactly.
But there's a big coffee hit off of this. Wow.
We're drinking a cold brew.
Not quite, but it's there. Definitely. Yeah, that's really good. That's actually very good.
Very nice.
Ooh, very good NA.
Very good NA.
That's got a nice roastiness to it. You know what? For a non-alcoholic beer, for a coffee, that's good. That's I got this glass while I was out in San Diego when they were doing their Speedway Stout Grand Prix during San Diego Beer Week.
Nice.
That must have been a lot of fun. And how did you get home?
16. Well, I drove actually, which is probably not the smartest thing in the world, but 16 different stouts. You could do flights or 24. I think it was 24. 24 different stouts. You did flights. We just did one flight, but there was nothing under like 13 or 14%. And it was fantastic. You walked around the brewery, they handed you the glass, you walked around the brewery, and you just picked whatever 4 that you wanted. So you get a pour, you drink it, you get a pour, you drink it. Some people did actual, flight, glasses or whatever, but we just did ours in our glass. Mm-hmm. You just walked around, you got a flight. Some guys had like 4 flights in front of them. I'm like, I don't know how you're driving home. I don't know how I got out of Miramar either, but we made it, And we ended up at 2 more breweries after that, so it was pretty good. Yeah, we went to Society in Old San Diego and somewhere else. So
Society's great. I love Society.
Well, we went to the new one in Old San Diego that had opened. The original one is great, but the new one in Old San Diego is just it's in a perfect spot. There's so many great places to eat right there.
Nice.
And the beer, the place is great. Oh, it looks almost has like an old Spanish mission feel.
Oh, cool.
It. Really cool. And then you go out and we had Mexican food down the block. It was fantastic.
I mean, you're in San Diego. If you didn't have Mexican food,
you're doing it wrong.
Right. Exactly.
My third beer is beer to drink when it's cold outside. Considering in the last week, today was the coldest day.
Yeah, it's a little chilly outside. I like. I was enjoying that.
Yep, it is a dark. It is classified as a. You can't see it. It's too dark. It's too dark. It's a dark lager. There you go.
The dark lager.
Westbrook makes good stuff.
Westbrook makes very good stuff. I have it in. There's my owl right there for my night show glass.
Yes.
So.
Nice.
So it's a big. This is like a big Willie Belcher. It's a Belcher. It's a like it's probably. I think that's like a 19-ounce
Yeah, that's a
It's a
sizable
big one.
That's
It's a big one. I mean,
Is
that's the entire beer in the 16-ounce can, and there's still 2
there's
ounces.
still
above
room.
it.
It might be.
And
Could be a 20.
You know what? And to that point about we were talking about breweries and shifting and whatever. I think it's time to shift out of the 16-ounce can and go back to 12. Now, I know
agree.
that's
Absolutely.
a big deal.
I'm
Because
100.
obviously from an aluminum perspective,
Mm.
and I know breweries like the 16, but you ever notice you drinking a 16-ounce can, unless you pour it in a glass, more than likely your glass isn't going to fit the whole beer.
Right.
There's usually a couple ounces left over, and by the time you get to that, it's warm. I find that a 12-ounce, you're pouring it in a glass or you're drinking it in a can, you're drinking it a little bit quicker. It's colder. And I think that more breweries should start, or at the very least, if you're making Pilsners and lagers, 12-ounce cans.
That's my mindset. It's IPAs, pale ales, and even your brown ales, winter warmers, stuff like that. 16-ounce cans. That's fine.
Right.
Pilsners, lagers, your Dunkels, any of those type.
What about ambers?
Ambers, even 12-ounce 6-packs. 12-ounce 6-packs. Okay.
Yeah.
And then your bigger, I said that for a reason. 12-ounce 6-packs, not just 12-ounce 6-packs. And then your bigger barrel-aged stouts, barrel-aged barley wines, stuff like that. 12-ounce 4-packs. Yeah.
Okay.
Yes, I like that.
I mean, Timber Ales, you're putting them out in 4-packs, so you don't need 6 of them.
Timber Ales did a stout in a 12-ounce can, and they called it it was like a creme brulee type of stout, but it wasn't one of their 12, 11, 12, 13 percenters. It was somewhere around 6 or 7, but it was in a 12-ounce can.
Right.
Perfect. Like that's exactly what you want, right?
Yep.
I mean, you want to taste, but you don't want to overwhelm it. Like even when Icarus does Kalashnikov in the smaller cans, that's better because it's a big, powerful, boozy beer. The 12 ounces is going to get you tipsy, but 16 is going to really. If I'm drinking something like that, 16 ounces is going to put you over the top.
Not only that, you also have the It's your pastry stouts. Who can drink 16 ounces of a pastry stout?
Yeah,
it's an exhausting palate.
12-ounce cans because you're going to sell more of them, right? Now, here's the thing, right? You charge per ounce, and that's fine, but you're going to get beer in front of more people. You don't want to move. Those beers are going to sell. Your barrel aged stouts, your pastry stouts, those beers are going to sell. Whether it's through your tap room, distro, wherever it is, those beers are going to move. All right. You shouldn't, as long as the liquid's good, those beers are going to move. You'll sell them, right?
But I wonder,
you put them in 12-ounce cans, 4-packs. You're going to get them in front of more people. All right. So you're going to make, and you may even make a little bit more money because you might not lower it's more approachable. I don't need this. Like I was just going to say, I got
price points lower.
I ordered in my last, not the one I have going now, but the last Tavor box I got. Right. I got 3 barley wines. 3. Okay. One from Revolution. 1 and 2 from 2 other breweries. I even forget where they're from. All right. I haven't had any of the 3 of them yet. The 2 from the other breweries, 16-ounce cans. 16-ounce cans of a barrel-aged barley wine. I don't need that. That, for me, that is a bottle share beer. Okay. Because I'm not drinking 16 ounces of a barrel-aged barley wine unless it's on our New Year's Eve show.
Yeah.
That we do.
But
the other one, the other one is the Revolution. It's the maple jacket. Yep. And that's a 12-ounce can. And that's what Revolution does. They do 12-ounce cans, 4-packs of their barrel-aged barley wines.
The last 2 stouts that Source came out with, Source of Darkness, and they did this Cafe Noir. They did them in 12-ounce slim cans, which is fantastic. That's exactly what it should be because they're big, they're boozy, and you want to have one, and you want to be able to drink the whole one, like what Firestone Walker does with Parabola and their anniversary beers. It's 12-ounce bottle. Yep. That's exactly what it should be. You should get a taste of it. You should savor it. You should enjoy it. It's meant to be.
When they made that move
over an hour.
When Firestone Walker made that move and they went from the 750s down to the 12-ounce bottles for their anniversaries, for the Parabola, for the Sacaba, for all of those, that was the smartest thing anybody's ever done for those beers.
Because they're already charging you $10 to $12 for one of those bottles.
Right.
They're making their money.
Most of those bottles, they're $10 to $12. It's perfect. That's right in there.
But John, there's one thing you said that I kind of disagree with because you're talking about the 16s, your pales, and your IPAs. Because I'll tell you one thing. What's my favorite beer? What if I boat, right?
Boat, yeah.
So
You would rather drink a 12-ounce can of that.
Here's the thing.
There's going to be your exceptions. There's going to be
here's the thing. Hops, just like your pastry stouts, hops can exhaust your palate after a little while. Sure. And as it warms up, it's going to exhaust it faster. So I want a 12-ounce IPA. I really do. I want a 12-ounce hoppy. I can drink more 12-ounce. I could probably drink 7 12-ounces.
Then 3 16-ounce cans.
Bingo.
Yeah,
Dave, I agree with you 150 million%. However, the demographic that's buying the majority of the hazies out there right now want 16-ounce cans. If they see a 12-ounce 4-pack or a 12-ounce 6-pack, they're not buying it.
Yeah, but
they want a 16-ounce can.
So from a business perspective, because it's rare that I buy hazies,
right.
And the one hazy that I've bought in probably the past 2 years is in a 12-ounce can.
Yeah. But I get why it should be. Yeah. No. But I also see the argument for both being in a 12-ounce can. It's a fantastic beer, and it's meant to have a bunch of them, whether you're on the beach, you're fishing, or whatever,
or on a boat.
Yeah, but
or on a boat.
Boat is 4.2%. So that demographic that I'm speaking of, that's not going to buy a hazy, and that's not in a 16-ounce can.
Buy that.
They're not buying boat.
Right, they're not buying that.
They're not buying boat. Correct. So that's fine.
Because they taste that and they go, oh, it's a beer that tastes like beer.
Right.
Huh? Sorry.
What is this concept you speak of?
Right. And the pastry stout thing, I think the reason why you have to have that in a 16-ounce can is probably because of ingredients. You're putting all of these different things in there to get the thing that you want. You have to charge a higher price point and
100%.
put more liquid in, because you're not going to make your money on a 12-ounce can.
No.
You're just not.
Not at all.
I think if you ask Scott from Valero, he'd make that argument perfectly. Like, yeah, it's got to be in a 16-ounce can because that's where you make your money. You're putting all of these different things in it. All those different things cost money. It's not. You're not making a Pilsner with 4 ingredients.
You're going to, for those particular, it's all about the demographic. You're spot on with that. You're spot on with that.
It's the demographic again.
It's the people that are buying those beers that want those hops, that want that juice, that want that weeded, oated, big, juicy mouthfeel, that beer you can't see. Like you can put your finger right next to the glass inside. Right. You can't see it. Right. They want a 16-ounce can. They want that.
You could put your finger right in. So hold on. You could put your finger right inside that can
in the glass. In the glass.
And not see it.
Okay.
Right.
But you said put it on the side and then in. How does that work? I know we've been drinking.
No, you pour the beer in the glass, and then you stick your finger in, and you
I'm
stick
going this way, or am I going this way?
Right, and then you back up along the side, and you can't see it.
Okay, I'm glad I wasn't the only one.
It's opaque. It's opaque. That's where I was going. All right, there you go. Hold on, I got to write that because that's the open for this show.
We were talking about. But we were talking about what we preferred it in, and I get the demographics. I get that's what you have to sell them in.
Calling it finger.
But as far as I'm concerned, if I've got to pay $24 for 4 16s of a pastry stout, I'm passing it.
No, I would never see. I'll never charge that. I'll never charge 20.
I'm not talking about but when you look out there and you look at the pastry.
Well, you know what that is. But you know what that is. That's distro. That's distribution. That's from another state. Okay. Perfect example.
But you put it in 12s. What's going to cost in 12s?
Well, less. But people are cognizant of the fact that they're only getting 12 ounces and not 16. Though. Don't.
No, but I'm saying we were talking personal preference. We weren't talking.
Oh no, personal preference. I want everything in 12-ounce cans. Are you kidding me?
Exactly.
So a story I'm doing this week on the show. Mm-hmm. Listen to this one.
Which show?
New Belgium. There's some
radio show that he does.
What's the Gattullo Craft Beer broadcast
podcast?
Yeah,
Craft Beer Cast.
Cast, because it's not a podcast. It's actually on legitimate radio.
Hold on.
Right.
It's right there. There you go. Gattullo Craft Beer Cast. There you go.
That's it. That's it.
A mouthful. So
too many.
New Belgium is doing an IPA, and they're pairing it with Tombstone Pizza. Apparently, Tombstone is teaming up with them to doing a club. Yeah, but wait, it gets better.
Oh, wow.
They're selling the 4-pack.
Well, wait, there's more.
They're selling the 4-pack for $49.99.
The 4-pack.
A 4-pack.
But was it
$50 for a 4-pack of I assume, They think it's going to be this great IPA, but it's probably very basic.
Mm-hmm.
With like it pairs with Tombstone Pizza. Who's paying $50 for a New Belgium IPA?
Who can't afford a real pizza and have to buy a Tombstone?
Right.
Now, if it comes with a coupon for 6, it's got to be more like 10 free Tombstone pizzas. That's fine.
Not that I'm aware.
Wow, that's insanity.
It's insane.
Now is it?
And I thought it was
is it a 4-pack of 64-ounce growlers?
No, it's a 4-pack.
It still wouldn't be worth it.
I know. I mean, when was the last time you had a New Belgium beer? It's not that good.
It's been a while. The last time I had a New Belgium beer was when I was at New Belgium down in Asheville, right? And before that, it was a while.
There you go.
So other than Lips of Faith, no.
Yeah,
Lips of Faith is a good sour beer. It's very.
I just want to know who the sucker is. No, but I just want to know who the sucker is going to pay $50 for this 4-pack of beer. Oh, I'm sorry, but no, that's just not.
And you know what? And if that sucker is listening, we'll have you on the show. Just let us know.
If you buy the beer, listen. Anybody out there that re-listens to this show on any of the audio networks or anything like that, if you've purchased this beer, we want you as a guest on this show.
Drinking that beer.
But
make sure you get a Tombstone Pizza because we want to know if it pairs.
Yeah, you have to buy a Tombstone Pizza. That's the kicker.
Oh, and cook it.
Cook it, and then eat a slice of it while you're drinking the beer on the show with us. You will come on the show. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Just message us right away, and there you go.
Yep.
Oh, so wait a minute. So
you know what's going to happen? Brian is going to go buy one of these 4-packs.
Actually, no. It'll be Campanile because he's been so desperate to get on the show.
There you go. That's true.
So apparently, it's a pizza flavored version. So the beer is going to taste like pizza,
and you're going to pair it with pizza,
and they're charging $50 for this. No, first of all, right,
hold on a second.
Hold on. I know the writer from the Denver Post, Tini Riccardi. She's a great writer. I got to get her on the show. I have to get her on the show.
You got to get her on.
So they're releasing it. Oh no. Okay, so it was a typo. I'm sorry.
Oh,
damn. God damn it.
Never let the facts get in the way of a good story.
No. It was right. So they're releasing it on National Beer Day. Well, it's good. You know why? Because I haven't recorded the segment yet, so it's even better. I pushed it off to the next segment, and I'm not done with that yet, so that's good. So at least I could change it. So apparently, the only way to get the beer is to go to New Belgium's brewery in Colorado. They're releasing it on April 7th, which, of course, is National Beer Day.
Yep.
A 4-pack of 16-ounce cans is $14.99. Okay.
Yeah. Right. That's now, reasonable.
Oh no! Wait a minute now. Okay.
Oh, there's more.
There's more.
I was not wrong. See, the New York Post had the article written wrong. So if you get it at the brewery, it's $14.99. But if you live in D.C., Kentucky, Nebraska, New Hampshire, North Carolina, North Dakota, Ohio, Pennsylvania, Vermont, and Virginia, you can order it to come directly to your doorstep, but they're going to charge you $49.99 for that 4-pack.
There you go. So you're right. It's $49.99. Unless you go to Fort Collins,
right,
and buy it.
So apparently, Brian Boak is not going to Fort Collins.
No, well, he just ordered one because he has a house in New Hampshire. Maybe I don't know, but Brian Boak just said he just ordered one. He said, "Brian, you don't have to order to come on the show. You've been on 4 times already." And you'll be on it at the very least. You'll be on the end of August this year.
We always have him on for the football kickoff.
Right? And by the way, he said his third beer is Ramstein Winter Wheat on tap, finished off a cold evening.
It's not a bad beer at all.
There you go.
That's a good way to.
It's very good beer. Very good beer.
That's a good one.
So, cool. This beer is fantastic. This Westbrook is fantastic. By the way, if you can get it. It's fantastic. It's really, really good. I had what the Tamabe people I had last week was Elder Pine, right? That I had on the show. That was fantastic too.
You think I was paying attention?
I thought you might.
I don't pay attention.
So, but they were both fantastic. If they pop up, it's a beer that if it pops up on Tavor again, I'm ordering it again.
I can't tell you what I drank on the show last week.
I can tell you, I take notes.
Yeah, I know you take notes.
There you go.
We can hear the.
You can hear them, right?
Yeah.
All right. Let's talk about a high note. when it comes to these things. There's some breweries opening up. Okay. Let's talk about Eskerhart.
Me other than yours?
Let's talk about, well, no. That's later. Let's talk about Eskerhart. Eskerhart just got licensed to the Brew and Beer.
Yep.
Right.
And they're about to announce an opening date.
They're about to announce an opening date.
A couple days away from announcing. So my guess, I would say probably third week of April or end of April.
That's fair.
Makes
that's
sense.
Fair.
And they're opening in the High Lines old
High Rails.
High Rails.
Yeah.
Hopefully they fix the front window.
I'm sure it's fixed.
It looks fixed. I've seen a couple pictures.
Yeah. For those of you who don't know,
I don't think the car is still in the building.
Right.
Actually, that'd be cool if they left it.
It would be a great conversation.
Awesome.
Come on.
There's a minivan in what you call it?
How would you not stop there? If you saw that, you'd absolutely stop.
I gotta go here.
Reason, even if you don't drink beer,
like a big neon sign, like brewery, enter here with this car in the front. Yeah, I gotta
go in through the trunk.
Yeah, crawl in and then come out. Open the door, climb out. Right.
That'd be great.
Oh, I love it. That's great. That's great. That's the open. All right, hold on. I gotta move down.
That's going to be opening soon, and I mean, we've had their beer.
Sure.
Very good.
It's amazing. Good. It's amazing. It's really exciting. I can't wait to get back to that space to drink it off their taps. That's
what was it? Was it Den, right? Den was the beer we had at AC Beer Fest last year.
Yes.
They did, yeah.
Yeah.
And that was in the one Steve his magazine, he did the article of the top 10 beers at AC Beer Fest last year. And that was number one. That was number one. Do we know? Do we remember what number 2 was? You can't argue it at all. Do you remember what number 2 was?
Number 2 may have been another selfless plug, I believe.
It was Mermango, yes.
I just remember that day being freezing and passing my glass between you guys, Bolero, and Ross, and we were good. So
and then the Dropkicks came on.
Right.
Dropkicks were that day, yes, they were.
Right. Oof. And people were complaining that the line at Guinness was 60 deep.
Yeah, it was.
It was because John didn't get as many breweries there, and he admitted he oversold. He oversold the event. Yeah. So, that's a big problem.
Yeah, there were some long lines there, but
yeah. I mean even Yale Terrace had a line.
It did. It definitely did. That's for sure.
That was a funny story. Jason from Icarus said to me, because they were next to them, and he said to me, they're right next to me. Shouldn't I just go over and have, hey, there it is.
Here we are. Freezing our asses off, but we were drinking beer. So
I'm not wearing it. I'm not wearing
not wearing a jacket, cowboy hat. Fuck you, cold
Hawaiian shirt. I've got a cowboy hat on and a Hawaiian shirt.
It's June, God damn it! That's it. I'm wearing a t-shirt.
How many fucks did I have to give that day?
But Jason said to me,
exactly.
Jason said to me, he goes, "They're right next to me. Shouldn't I just go over and have at least one?" And I go, "No, you shouldn't." No, and I don't think he did.
Brian just said, Brian just answered my question. I says, but you've been on 3 or 4 times. He said, but I like being on the show.
We like having him on the show.
And he said he still has some of the winter wheat ice pack. The winter wheat ice pack is phenomenal. It's it's stupid good. It's that category
they had the Ramstein was at the kickoff to New York City Beer Week a couple of weeks ago.
Okay. Yep.
And they had what did they have there? They had the ink. Oh my God. Amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing. Greg makes
had that. That's
Greg's
Greg's an OG, and he just makes fantastic stuff.
And I'll say that every beer that's been brewed out of Ramstein is phenomenal.
Yep, 100%. If you haven't been there,
selflessly stroking Brian there.
No, but seriously,
well, Brian brewed them, but that's besides the point.
But if you haven't been there, that's a trip that you should take.
100%, absolutely. Get up to Butler, go to the brewery.
Yeah. If you want an authentic beer experience where you feel like maybe you're in Germany a little bit, the way the building is, and all 100%. That. I mean, you'll
get an authentic beer experience that throws you back to it's a little German brewery-esque, but it's also old school New Jersey. What brewery experiences and taproom experiences used to be like before 2012. Which,
Like,
believe me,
you know
I'm not like frowning upon by any means, but it's old school. It's old school. It's cool. It's really good.
Oh, and that complex is awesome.
That complex is amazing.
Also,
you want to go there?
It's also like I mean, it's a bigger version of Little Dog.
Yeah.
I mean, what Gretchen has a very, very authentic, sort of home kind of, you feel cozy and it's comfortable. Ramstein's a little bit bigger, but still that same authentic feel.
So you're saying Frau Schmidhausler makes good German beer?
Frau Schmidhausler makes German beer.
But then you got the other, German brewery up there, and the name ends in a vowel.
Go figure.
So it's it does.
But I will tell you, we had some good beer that day in Brooklyn. Me and my buddy Mark and Matt.
And Matt went with you, yeah.
Boy, let me tell you. I mean, you want to talk about first of all, the guy that I had on my show a couple of weeks ago, Johnny Ifrigan, just opened this place, Nightglow, in Brooklyn.
Nightglow.
Yeah.
All of his beers, well, it's coffee and beer, very much like Chuck Garrity and Death of the Fox.
And Death of the Fox, right?
Yeah.
Right. But the coffee part is called Dayglow. The beer is Nightglow. And all of his beers, it's him and his brother. His brother started this coffee business, opened up in California, big success. Johnny was in Chicago. He was in a band, worked with some breweries and stuff. They tried to get a place in Chicago, but they couldn't find anything that really fit. They found this place in Brooklyn. They had to demo it and redo some things in the place. It was a brewery, and they redid it. And he's only been open a couple of months. All of his beers, Luca Pour taps, they are phenomenal. He had a brown ale at the event in Brooklyn. Matt and I couldn't stop talking about it. It was
really
out of sight. Out of sight. With the coffee, it was out of sight.
So when we going, John?
I was just going to say, I know, Al, you were saying you got to get over there. You want to get over and see that whenever you want to go over. Let's
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I have to get to 6 Points. I'm going to 6 Points Manhattan location next week because it's literally 3 blocks from my office. So it's on my way home. So
why wouldn't you? Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, exactly. And I was just at Torch and Crown last week.
So that
Torch and Crown.
Interviewing my buddy John.
He's on the show.
I saw that.
Yesterday, this Sunday.
Yeah. His food is fantastic. His beer is great. They've done such a great job over there, opening in the pandemic and really just powering through. And it's a great little spot right outside the Holland Tunnel. You just can't beat it. But I'm trying to get over to Brooklyn in the next couple of weeks. Hopefully I can get over there. And
let me know when you're going over. I'm going to go over too.
Yeah.
But
there was another brewery. I'm trying to remember the name. I don't know who they were paired up with because everybody had it's whatever brewery from New York City, and then they partner with somebody else. So I think Icarus was there. I forgot who Icarus was there with. Twin Elephant was there because of Five Boroughs.
Nice.
Ramstein was there. I forgot why Ramstein was there. They were partnered up with somebody else. But we had this one brewery from Chicago. I think it was Moore's. It's a black-owned brewery. Man, they had a porter that was outstanding. Just fantastic stuff. I love all the out-of-state stuff. I mean, it's and then the who's the guys? Oh God, Miami, Trippin' Animals.
Yep,
I think it's Trippin' Animals, and their business card is rolling paper.
Mm-hmm.
Fantastic.
Now the thing is, I've always wondered. I love the name, no matter which one it means. Does it mean that there's somebody out there sticking his foot out and making animals fall? Or are there animals that have been hitting the ganja and they're tripping balls?
They're tripping.
Either way,
and we're animals, tripping animals.
It's either way. It's a funny name, and I love it.
They cracked a barrel-aged stout at 4:20 because the event went from noon to 5. I can't tell you the line, and me and Matt and Mark were right up front, and the guy literally bang, and we were like, "You got to pour," and ran out of there.
If you've ever been to the tap room, Tripping Animals. The taxidermy is there's a lot. There is a lot of taxidermy there,
and every single one of those hyenas are high.
Every one of them, but they've got,
or at least were high.
I think it's a wild boar off to the left of the bar,
Right.
and I really want them to turn that into like a coin ride. Because the thing's huge. It'd make a great ride. Just 25 cents. You go and
So
it throws you off, and then you go order another beer.
there you go.
Right.
And there's some other breweries opening in Jersey. It came out last week that Five Dimes purchased Red Tank. More on that as the week
To come.
But they'll be opening.
I hear
the
cleanup. I hear the cleanup is going to be intense.
The clean,
yeah.
Well, no, it's fine. It's fine. No, there's some stuff that needs to be taken care of. But they'll be working on getting it to snuff for a lot of people.
Obviously the inspection process and all the other stuff.
Of course, right? No. The state, the town is not going to allow anything to open before it's able to be open. So,
right.
So it'll be taken care of. But more on that. They'll be open somewhere between now and May.
Okay.
Fair to say.
That's
from what I hear.
That's probably that's a slimmer window than when the cable guy's going to show up. So yeah,
They'll be here anywhere between now and 2027.
Oh.
That's the cable guy. That's the cable guy.
Sounds like my GE guy when he comes to repair my dryer tomorrow.
Right, exactly.
I have to come back. He came 2 weeks ago. They ordered parts. They were supposed to come last Thursday. They came in piecemeal over 3 days. Now he's coming back tomorrow. I've been without a dryer for 3 weeks. So that's first world problems.
Good
one. But the other one, I don't know if you guys heard this. Bonesaw wants to open up in the Freehold Mall.
Really?
Yes.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yes. Yeah. That'll be that'll be a third location for them.
Right. But no food. Just a brewery and tasting room, but they want to open up in one of the vacant shops inside of the Freehold.
Because they have their big facility down in I guess it's Glassboro or whatever, but that's down.
It's right by Glassboro.
It's right by Glassboro, yeah. And but they opened in a mall down. It's not too far from there either. They have a second location. Same thing, a smaller brewery with a tap room in a mall. Down there, so they want to do the same thing.
So Freehold. So this will be the second time they're opening in a mall.
Correct. This will be the second time they're opening a mall.
So this will be only 2. I mean, we're talking indoor malls here, right?
Yeah. So they're converting. Their Kirkland's was in there, so apparently they're converting part of the space, about just a little over 2,000 square feet.
Kirkland's Home Furnishings, not Kirkland's Costco.
I was going to say
Kirkland's Home Furnishing. Yeah.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
Different stores. Different.
Right. So this is a little over 2,000 square feet for an indoor brewing space. The remaining 4,800 square feet, an indoor tasting room, and 2 outdoor seating areas.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting. So prior to them opening down there, we had never had a brewery in New Jersey inside an indoor mall, and now Bonesaw is going to do a second one. So that's cool.
Right.
And Kings Road, that has a facility in Haddon Township, and also has their second facility that they opened right next to a great barbecue place, right around the corner from Farm Truck in Medford. They are in the process of opening with it's a school, right? I mean, they're opening with
they're opening inside a school.
No, I gotta pull it up.
Oh, inside of is it Stratford?
Yes. Yeah. Right. They're in Stratford. They're opening up in Stratford. It's an old, in the space that they're opening up, there was a pool, and they're actually utilizing the pool for what some of the brewing facility.
Wait a second. So the pool going to be the cool ship?
No, not at all.
There's going to be an educational.
It's an educational. Right? I mean, it's a brewery, tap room,
right? Functioning brewery. But if you want to learn about brewing, right, you can do that and get a credit sort of degree. Stockton, isn't it Stockton?
It's Stockton State College. That's what it is.
Right.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah,
that's cool. You can sit beside the pool and get your degree in brewing.
I like it.
Yeah.
All right. So 425 to go. Wagner up 67-54 on Howard. So it looks like they may be going dancing.
Yeah.
Looks like they may be going down. I think they're going dancing. I do.
Yeah, I think
they're
so
going
too.
dancing. Yeah. It's Stockton. It's Stockton that they're opening up.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay.
Madison considers news of vacant Kings. Yeah, exactly. So that's what they're doing.
Have you figured out your final four yet, Al?
Figured out the final.
No, because I don't really do the pools, but I like watching it because it's fun, and I like the first weekend of the tournament is great because you never know what the Cinderella story is going to be. After that I'm kind of like, all right.
But I love it. I love it when that Cinderella makes it to like the round of 8.
Oh yeah, last year.
That is amazing.
Fairleigh Dickinson beat Purdue last year.
Right.
16 beat a 1.
And year. What was it? Was it FAU that was like the Florida darling that made it further than they should have? Who was it down there? It was FAU. Yeah. It was FAU because I know I'd gone down to pick my daughter up, and I was in I can't remember the name of the brewery, but there's this whole complex with all these restaurants and a brewery in there, and I like to go there. And the game was playing, so the place was packed with all these FAU fans. It was really an electric kind of atmosphere. Watching them.
Now, do they pronounce that FAU or just FAU?
It's just FAU.
Just FAU. Go FAU! No.
No. And then someone hands them a misunderstanding, hands them a bowl of Vietnamese soup.
Right, exactly.
That's pho. Sorry, it's pho.
Yeah. So anyway, we'll actually be going over our brackets and doing our MLB season kickoff tomorrow night on the Get On With It Sports Podcast. Tomorrow night. Which Al has taken part of several times.
Yes,
to this point. Yep, he's been
every now and then I troll them.
Okay.
I haven't trolled you guys in a while. I should probably do that. It's been a bit.
Brian Boak just commented both men's and women's of his college made the tournament. University of South Carolina, women's rated number 1. There you go.
Very nice.
So I'm assuming the championship game of the women's is going to be South Carolina versus Caitlin Clark.
Yeah. Very possible.
I'm going out on a limb here and saying, yeah,
Caitlin Clark, who plays for Iowa.
Exactly. So, and who announced that she's not going to take her 5th year of eligibility. And she's going to go to the WNBA. I was going to say NBA. I was going to say NBA, but
right. She could play in the NBA.
She could probably play in the NBA. That's the sad. Well, that's the fun part, actually.
Yeah, some of the teams could really use a player.
Absolutely. She beat Pistol Pete's record last week or 2 weeks ago. 2 weeks ago.
Deep threat, phenomenal passer.
She's amazing. She really is.
Here's a question.
She's a pure shooter. She's so
here's
amazing.
A question.
She's Steph Curry with a vagina.
With Pistol Pete.
Well, I'm not being sexist by any means. She is.
No. I didn't think you were.
Not at all.
Pistol Pete's day, they didn't.
She's Steph Curry with boobies. There you
go. There was.
Although Steph Curry does have pretty nice boobies, actually. Have you seen Steph Curry's? Yeah.
No, I have not.
Right. Speaking of that, we digress. Well, I said that for a reason. I actually have a dad joke that I was trying to get to. I was trying to find a segue.
Hold that
segue all night long, and I made it myself. All right.
In honor of your segue, I will not hold that thought.
Hold that thought. There you go. Bring it back. You hold the thought. Bring it back afterwards. Al,
I'm used to holding it.
Yes. What do you call a ghost's boobies?
What do you call a ghost's boobies?
Of course, this is for Al, right?
Right, of course, because well, we all know.
Right. What do you call a ghost?
I have a little.
There you go. Right. What do we call a ghost's? What do you call a ghost's boobies?
No idea.
Boobies.
Boobies. There you go. Well, that's the second grade version of this joke.
Right.
This one is 5th grade. All right. It's a little more advanced. All right.
It's more advanced.
Paranormal entities. Entities. Paranormal entities.
Yeah, that's
a little more than 5th grade.
That's
I didn't write it. I heard it.
It's better written than said. I think.
It actually is because it looks funny here.
It looks funny.
You actually have to see. You have to actually see the titties.
Right.
Oh.
All right. Dave Campanelle chimed in. He said, "Sad thing is making more money through NIL than she ever will make in the WNBA." Probably right.
He's probably right.
You're not wrong, actually, Dave. Absolutely.
But the point I was going to make is she beat Pistol Pete's record.
Mm-hmm.
But was there a 3-point line when Pistol Pete was playing?
No, there wasn't.
That's
No. He did it without 3-pointers, and he did it in 3 seasons too. Yeah. Look. I'm not taking anything away from her. She's a fantastic.
No, not at all. I'm not trying to. I'm just saying, when it's with everything in sports, when they will compare this person to this person who played 40 years ago, it's a different game. Mm-hmm. The rules are different. The situation's different. Yeah. The competition's different.
100%.
So you can't.
You can't do that. You can't do that.
No. You can't. 20 years, 10 years.
You can't do it from generation to generation. Certainly 50 years ago. Okay, you can't do it.
Right.
So, because things change.
Yep.
And it doesn't need to just be that. But yes, of course, Pistol Pete did it. Pete Maravich did it in 3 seasons with no 3-point line. Right. Caitlin Clark did it in 4 seasons with the 3-point line. But it doesn't matter. It doesn't take anything away from the fact that she's an amazing shooter.
Because you have a lot more parity now in the sport.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Whereas back then you may have had a bunch of stand-up players. Now most of them are stand-up players. Mm-hmm. So it's stiffer competition, mm-hmm. Better parity. So I don't think it takes anything away from what she's accomplished.
Not at all. Not at all. 100%. So cool. All right. The takeaway from this, as far as the brewery news goes, okay, there's a lot of there's breweries closing. There are breweries opening, and there are breweries thriving, and there are some breweries that are not. And a lot of it is business, a lot of it is liquid, mm-hmm. a lot of it is marketing and branding. Yep. You got to figure yourselves out, and just got to roll with the times. You got to keep up with everything that's going on. There are certain aspects of politics and the states you're in. I'm not just speaking about New Jersey and everything else that are going to affect somehow or another what you do. But you have to figure out how to conform to that to your best ability to make yourself succeed. That's really.
I see a lot of these closings kind of like when the market does a correction.
Yeah.
Right. We had a lot of expansion. Eventually, we knew there'd be a it would retract a little bit once breweries started stepping all over each other. Right. And frankly, I really do think that's what happened to Elementary. Elementary didn't have a lot of competition at first, and then Bricks opens now. Hackensack, which is right down the road from them, they've got a lot of competition as well as everything
down the road, around the corner.
Yeah,
but they're friends. I mean, they work.
I know they're friends,
but it's not even that. It's not even that. It's people want to go in now for a tasting room experience. They can't get that at Elementary. The parking is non-existent. Exactly. If you don't have a place for people to park, like Bakes, he's making great beer, but let's face it, when the summer comes, that lot's going to be jammed. Yeah. There's no space. He's going to have a problem.
He's going to have a problem, but the thing that he's going to have is the fact that a lot of the people that are renting that do want to go to the brewery can walk there.
Right.
But how did you get there the first time you went there?
Oh no! We Ubered. We walked.
We walked. Right.
But Tall Oaks, they just made an announcement this week. We're expanding our parking. I don't think they realized the influx of people they were going to get. So
100%.
When you're planning a brewery now, it's not just enough to say I have my spot and people are going to come. I don't care how they get there. You've got to make sure that you 100%. Can accommodate a certain amount of cars.
Absolutely.
I mean, how many spots do they have at Elementary? 4. Come on,
across the street,
it depends on how much of the staff were
parked there. Yeah, exactly.
Right.
And make no mistake, Hackensack and Mike Jones will be the first person to tell you they have very little parking.
Very little,
but they have
the street
3, 4 times as much as Elementary had.
So that's
and that's the truth, Dave. They had the street too, so you can park.
They had the street. I always park. Always park.
Well, you can do. Yeah, exactly. So
you can do that for Elementary too. But because it's more of you've got to walk into the complex to get there.
It's further down the side street. Hackensack's right on the main road. Right.
But the thing is, we're looking at. Do you want to call? I don't know if I want to call it a correction, but there is a snapback a little bit we saw an amazing growth. There's so many factors that are working against craft beer right now. Like you said, there's the laws. There's, the newer generations' preferences. There's a lot going on right now. So to me, I look at like more of a market correction. I'm not as worried as most people are looking at this like a beer apocalypse. I don't see it as that.
No,
you know why?
I don't think it's that bad. I don't think.
But you know why? I think when the pandemic came, I think a lot of the critics thought, okay, here's where the bubble's going to burst. Like everybody was saying,
but it did.
The bubble, right? The bubble, like before the pandemic, 2017, 2018, 2019, everybody felt like it was building to that, and breweries were opening at a rapid clip, and they're doing all these reports on Fox Business and all of this stuff. Oh, a brewer's a great investment, and this, and then you had the shutdown in 2020. You had breweries adapting to the environment. Some didn't, and they closed. There was the correction. The others said, we've got to get our beer in cans, and we've got to get it out as quickly as possible. And they did that. And people went out and supported them.
And expanded their distro as well.
Correct. So those things helped some of those guys who were on the fringe, who might have closed, survived.
Right.
Now the correction is happening again because, all right, the pandemic is over. Things are starting to get back to normal, but inflation is still high. People don't have as much disposable income. And what happens when you don't have disposable income? What's the first thing that you cut out? You cut out this. You cut out extraneous things.
Normal people, not us. Yeah,
not us.
We don't.
Crazy.
Most people do.
Yeah.
Most people. Sane people. Reasonable people.
Right.
Not idiots like us.
Right.
Yeah. So I think that's a part of it. We're seeing that correction now where these things are changing, and some of these guys, their margins were already thin to begin with.
Right.
They couldn't afford to take another drop, and so they lost out. And in the case of Elementary, their distro was their downfall. People weren't taking their beers. No. So what are you going to do? I mean, if you're basing a lot of it on your distribution and trying to get your beer out there and into different states, and people aren't buying it, what else can you do?
Yeah, because you're putting it out there, and if it's not selling off the shelf, you've got to you have to buy it back, right?
Right. That's correct.
It depends on the deal you have with the account, right? I mean, for the most part, the right thing to do is buy it back if it's not selling.
Right.
Some will not. Some will not.
And then usually
some will. Some
probably not long for that account.
Right, and some stores won't even look for them to buy it back. They'll just keep selling it. So if you're no, they will. No, absolutely.
Oh, and you'll have an IPA sit on there for 2 years.
If you're a brewery, you at that point want to go buy it back,
Yeah.
So they don't sell it 2 years later. So somebody doesn't buy it and say, this IPA is disgusting.
This is
awful.
It's
2 years old. So
right.
yeah, so there's a yin and a yang to that.
Right.
So but 100%. Yeah, no, there was a correction. I think you hit the nail on the head, Al. There was the correction during the pandemic based on people who didn't adapt. I never thought the bubble was going to burst. I thought there would be a plateau.
Mm-hmm.
All right. And then the people that were doing it right would remain on that plateau, and the people that weren't would fall off. But I never thought there was going to be a burst. Like there was in the 90s. There was a burst, granted, much smaller scale than there certainly was 20 years later. Right. But there was it grew to be a bubble, and it kind of just, there wasn't a market to support what there certainly is now. Okay. Right. So back 20, almost 30 years ago at this point, 25 years ago.
We've asked the question on the show a few times to New Jersey brewers, to Rhode Island brewers, and elsewhere, is how many more brewery openings can the region sustain?
As many.
And John, and a lot of them answered exactly the way you do. They can keep going as long as there's people to buy the beer. But now we're seeing the correction because we now have influences that were not foreseen at the time.
Here's the thing, okay?
Right?
And I say this all the time. There is plenty of people out there that drink beer, okay? The majority of the people out there that drink in general, okay? I'm not saying craft beer, just beer, okay? The majority, still to this day, the majority of people drink macro beer. They drink Budweiser. They drink Miller. They drink Coors,
Yeah, of course.
Heineken. They drink whatever. Okay, it's a lot. It's a lot lower. Not a lot lower. It's lower. It's lower the percentage wise. It's lower than it was 20 years ago. There are more. There's a higher percentage of craft beer drinkers today than there was 20 years ago.
Yes,
Problem is,
we've been taking single digit percentages year after year,
right?
Except for the last year.
Well, this is my point. Okay, so the margin kind of grew apart a little bit. There was more craft beer drinkers than there were not more craft beer. There was more craft beer drinkers each year than there were before. Okay, however, in the last several years, there's been more. We said it before. It's more RTDs, more seltzers, cannabis. So that has slowed the growth of the percentage of new craft beer drinkers. Okay, but it didn't completely erase the ones that were already drinking craft beer. It made them be interested in some other things, but they didn't say, "Hey, you know what? There's seltzer. I'm never drinking craft beer again." It's just a different market. It's a different market. You got to give them something.
Unless you're Scott Wells.
You got to give them something that's going to entice them to say, "Okay, don't buy the seltzer today. Buy this beer today." That's what you got to look at. And the breweries that are doing that, they're succeeding. They're at least at least maintaining.
That was the point I was making, is that in this correction, those are the mitigating circumstances that were not foreseen when we asked that question before the show.
Right.
Yes, were seltzers around? Yes. Did everyone understand the impact they'd have on there? Ready to drinks were really not around when we first started asking this question on the show.
There was always an RTD here and there, but nothing like we have today.
No,
nothing
like today.
But also, I think in New Jersey there is plenty of room for expansion. There's plenty of room in the state,
100%,
for people to open up a brewery. So I think you're going to see more of that. I just think that you're not going to see things on a grand scale, or it's going to be somebody coming in with money to open up a brew pub, to open up something like an alternate ending where I've got food, I've got alternatives and stuff, and I think that's where I think some of these newer breweries and some of the older ones too would like to see the law change so that if they wanted to add food in their place, they could. The majority of them don't want to do that. They don't want another headache, on top of everything else. But I think that, there's a couple. Listen, there are a couple that would do it. But I think the newer investor who wants to get their hand on a license and say, look, if I can, brew beer and do food, then this is a bigger benefit for me because I'm bringing, all walks of life people in instead of just people who, you only drink beer? I don't drink beer. I can't, Source is in a great spot because they have the distillery across the street. Even though you can't bring the mixed drinks in, they're right there. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
It's right next to one another. So that's an advantage. But, I mean,
I
think there's more room for expansion in New Jersey as opposed to the rest of the country.
I 100%
I
agree.
think
100% agree because of the fact of what we've done here and what the laws are like here. And I've said this too, and I've said it the opposite way, but I'll say it this way too. And this is probably one of the first times I've said this way. All right. Restaurant Association doesn't want to see breweries opening food establishments because it's going to take away from them. Right. Okay. Does the Restaurant Association want to block BYOBs from opening? Or just forget about BYOBs, just any restaurant that doesn't have a liquor license? Do they want to stop them? Isn't that going to take business away from them?
No, I wouldn't think so.
Well,
no,
if that's not going to take business away from them, why is a brewery that's serving food going to take business away from them? Brewery that's already there.
I would think a BYOB would take more business away. Because
I would think a business BYOB, they can bring wine,
whatever you want.
They can bring right.
Because I prefer
a brewery,
BYOBs.
They can only drink the beer that's there and have the food.
Because as a consumer, I prefer BYOB because I can bring the beer that I bought at a fair price rather than the marked up, jacked up price at a restaurant.
Right.
Exactly.
By the way, Wagner wins 71-68. The Bisons went on an enormous run.
Whoa, that's heartbreaking.
Very close,
for Howard.
Yeah,
wow.
Very, very close. But they had 4 attempts in the last 10 seconds to knock down a 3 to tie it and couldn't get it. So,
that's a shame.
wow, what a game!
4 attempts for a 3, and they couldn't get it.
Nope.
Wow.
Nope.
That's a shame.
So Wagner moves on. They face
they
North
need to-
Carolina.
they need
North
to-
Carolina. They faced North Carolina on Thursday, right?
Yeah, this game was really who gets to lose to North Carolina.
Right. Exactly.
Right.
Exactly. But hey,
Anything can happen. Could you imagine?
You
I mean,
never know.
Wagner goes on a run and they beat North Carolina on Thursday.
And was it last
Jets
year
won't be happy.
Last year was the first year that a number 1 fell?
Last year was. No, second
Yes.
time. Second time.
second time. That's right.
Second
2
time.
years in a row.
Yep.
2 years in a row. 2 years in a row. 2 years in a row.
That's right.
Now here's your thought. Usually what I do, all my brackets, in the first round, I always advance the Ivy League. They always have this tendency to upset their first round opponent.
Mm-hmm.
Unless they play a number 1, I've never done it against a number 1.
Right.
Yale's the Ivy League champ this year. Who are they taking on?
I heard they're taking on Fairleigh Dickinson. I heard.
No, they're not even in. They're taking on Auburn. Yale versus Auburn. That's it.
It's an interesting game.
That'll be an interesting
That
game.
could be a toss-up.
Yeah,
That's a toss-up game.
I'm because of that rule that I put in there. I'm taking Yale in my brackets.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
Because remember that year that Princeton made a hell of a run.
Yep.
They make it to, they made it to the 8, or did they make it? To
No, they made it to the Final Four, didn't they?
They made it to the Final Four. Yeah,
I thought they made it to the Final Four and they got knocked out.
I think the Final Four. So and every year, and last year I did not take the Ivy League in the first round.
Yeah, but
and they won.
Yeah, but in with all due respect to you and in fairness to your bracket last year, you did your bracket while we were all sitting at Paragon doing the bracket at the craft beer bracket at Paragon.
That's true. I may have been a little inebriated.
You might have been a little inebriated that day, so
A little bit.
Okay.
Yeah, they didn't do that. I don't know why.
I had a
didn't
few
do
nautical
this.
twilights.
Yeah, I don't know why they didn't do it this year. I know their other place in Hamilton is doing theirs.
Yep. Yeah, they did.
But I don't know why they didn't do it up at Paragon. I know Mike, who was the GM, he just left. He went up to Vermont. So I don't know. They're in a little bit of in flux. So
which may be a reason.
Yeah,
Yeah.
makes sense.
probably.
Could be.
Probably.
So,
But
fair enough.
still cranking out good stuff.
Still cranking out good stuff. There you go. All
A
right.
lot of foam on tap. Good stuff.
Gotta love foam. I'll be up there the end of next month. I'll be up at foam.
There you go.
Oh, beautiful.
Love it. So, all right. I think it's time for our top 3 list. What do you think?
Okay. Because I got to get to bed. So
Yeah,
yes.
I got to
Same.
eat something, so I'm starving. So
Same.
I came in from working, and we did this.
You came in like a wrecking ball.
I came in like a wrecking ball. I'm not naked sitting on one though, so I'm not Miley Cyrus.
Thank God.
There you go. Yeah. Yes. I'll even say that. Thank God. Yeah. Anyway, all right. Tonight's top 3 list is brought to you by. No, I'm kidding. Tonight's top 3 list is continuation of the last 2 weeks. 2 weeks ago, we did top 3 favorite 70s TV sitcoms.
Yep.
Last week we did top 3 80s TV sitcoms.
So this week we're doing top 3
favorite. Yeah, 40s. Yeah, top 3 favorite 90s TV sitcoms.
Oh,
There you go.
Oh, that's a good progression. I like that progression.
Exactly. You like how that works? There you go.
Yeah.
All right, Al, kick us off. Start us off.
All right. So I'd written these down, and I didn't think I was going to put them in the order that I did, but it turns out they're 1, 2, 3. So number 3 would be Friends.
Of course.
Number 2 would be Frasier.
Mm-hmm.
And number 1, even though it technically started in 1989, it had its major
counts.
run through the 90s. Seinfeld.
I already finished typing it. So
There you go.
There you
'Cause,
go.
to be honest, Seinfeld didn't really hit its stride until its second season.
Oh no, it's a 90s.
When it was on the verge
It's
of
a 90s.
cancellation.
It's not an
That's
80s
straight-
sitcom by
straight
any
the
means.
90s.
By any
No.
stretch of the imagination.
And you know what's funny about that is that the day the episode aired with Keith Hernandez, that was second season,
The second spitter.
Jerry Seinfeld was on with Howard Stern, and he was explaining, we're having this hour show and blah, blah, blah. And Keith Hernandez is a guest and this and that. And I'm like, oh my God, I got to watch this. Because I sporadically watched the first season. I don't really remember much. And I remember I got to watch this an hour long. Keith Hernandez is going to be on. And I laughed from beginning to end, and I was hooked. And that was it. And that was my run of, watching it every week and laughing my ass off. So,
100%. 100%.
that was the one that twisted it. Because I think that season, I think was only like 10 episodes. It was like a mid-season. It came in mid-season.
It came in mid-season. It did.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Like a wrecking ball.
It came out
like a wrecking ball.
If there's one word that you could take away from Seinfeld, what would it be? Al first, then Dave, and I'll give you mine. Al.
One word.
One word.
One word.
One word.
Oof.
Not one phrase, because if you say phrase,
no,
everybody's
right.
is going to be no soup for you, right? So
Yeah, of course.
Okay. So if it's one word.
One word.
One word.
Hello. There you go.
Very good. Dave?
Me, sponge-worthy.
Sponge-worthy. There you go.
That was
There
a
you
big
go.
one on the show.
And who was Sponge-worthy, by the way?
I can't remember who.
Jerry.
Who was the guy? Who was the guy that Elaine was dating that was Sponge-worthy?
Oh, Putty.
Oh, Putty.
Putty was.
No, Putty was the face painter.
Yeah,
Maestro? The Maestro?
No.
Was it Maestro? No.
No. The one that was in the episode with the sponges. Who was she dating?
I don't even remember.
Oh, I don't remember.
I'll give you a hint. He was in Gilmore Girls.
He was in Gilmore. So Padalecki?
No. He was in the entire run of the show.
Oh, was it the guy who ran the diner?
It was Luke. Yeah, it was
Luke. Okay.
It was
right.
Scott Patterson.
Right.
Scott Patterson. There you go.
Your word?
I want to say Mulva.
No, please don't say that.
Oh,
you just did. Never mind.
Yeah, there you go. There you go. And I won't joke and say shrinkage. By the way, I won't. Say.
Well, that's another big one.
That's another. Yep. Well, not so much actually.
The water was cold.
The water was cold. And I know it's part of a name, but Vandalay. Vandalay Industries are Vandalay, and Vandalay. So,
right.
For me, that's what it is. Anyway.
By the way, the Yankees are doing a George Costanza bobblehead doll this year.
Oh, that's
July 5th.
Oh, that's awesome.
The assistant secretary to the traveling secretary, and
he's
he's got a bat in his hand. It's brilliant. It's absolutely brilliant.
It would be more brilliant if the bobblehead was under the desk.
Under the desk, right?
Yeah. That's true. But it's George with a bat in it. Because remember the scene where he's showing him how to hit? That's they're reenacting that on the bobblehead. Okay. So
Brian
July 5th at the stadium.
July 5th at the stadium. Brian Boak actually just commented, and it's one that the three of us didn't even think of. That's probably the biggest word that came out of the series.
Because it was a holiday.
Oh, yeah, Festivus.
For the rest of us.
Yeah.
That's right.
Festivus.
Could have been tinsel, too.
Could have been.
Found it distracting.
Yes, that's true.
The bro.
The bro. The man's ear, not the bro. It's
the man's ear.
It's the man's ear.
Right.
Yeah, exactly. All right, Samurai, you're three. Should put the same three? Or just...
I've got 4 honorable mentions. And...
He's got 4 honorable mentions. He wants to leave me with nothing, is what he wants to do.
It's got to be 3.
I'm gonna mention 1 honorable mention.
How about this? Do 2, 1 or 2.
No.
I have 2.
I'm gonna do 1. And if you don't mention any of the 3, I'll bring them up.
Fair enough.
The one I'm going to bring up because I'm pretty sure you probably wouldn't have this one. One show that I absolutely love was Dinosaurs.
Fair enough.
Yeah, it's a sitcom, and yes, it's with big kind of puppets sort of things, but seriously, not the mama. I'm going to bite you now. There were this. I really because it was based off of Honeymooners in a sense.
Mm-hmm. Oh,
right,
100% Honeymooners.
Right.
Yeah, 100% Honeymooners.
And I love that show. So we'll go for number 3 for me.
Mm-hmm.
Home Improvement.
Okay.
I don't think so, Tim. There's so many, the grunting, all of that. I think this was Tim Allen at his best, with the exception of maybe Galaxy Quest.
Galaxy Quest is, pardon the pun, on another planet. That's,
Yeah, and this is, if you watch the beginning of the show, Gattullo is a huge Star Trek fan. So this movie just does nothing but make fun of Star Trek.
Yeah.
But it does it in such a beautiful, respectful
It's an homage, but it's hysterical in the same way. Yeah. And he plays Shatner
beautifully,
perfectly, even with the shirt off.
Yes. Oh my God, he got his shirt off again.
All of it, like it's. God.
But when you get a spoof and you manage to drag Alan Rickman into it, you know you got something.
Yeah.
You have something. So, but Home Improvement, I loved Home Improvement. These days, I can't eat a Glumpke without thinking of that show. It's just, number 2, and I thought this show was genius. I thought it was like highbrow humor with Sports Night. You know,
yeah.
I mean, when you take a show that is basically showing me the behind the scene of basically Sports Center, ESPN Sports Center, and all the personalities, and there's so many actors and actresses that got their. Felicity Huffman started there, right? The guy from 6 Feet Under got
Josh Charles.
Josh Charles started there. You got Renee Abenjois in that. You know, Benson's in
That's
there.
right.
Okay. You know, there was so much going on in this show. The girl from Sliders was in it. This show had. To me, this was almost like kind of almost had that kind of MASH feel to it, where there was heart to it. It wasn't always funny. Sometimes it was sensitive, and you know, it could bring tears to your eyes if you watched enough and understood what was going on. It was really, I really thought that was a very well done show. My number 1, and you can argue if it was a sitcom or not, because when I was researching this, I'm like, okay, I guess that is a sitcom. Because the writing on this was amazing, and that was Northern Exposure. Northern Exposure at times was just surreal, intentionally surreal.
I did like the show. I would not classify it as a sitcom, but have at it. So
I just thought this show was hilarious at times, deep at times. Many times it held a mirror up to the foibles of humanity. There's so many examples of that, and I just love this show. I couldn't wait for the show to come on every week. It's my number 1 because of that, and because some people will qualify as a sitcom. So if it qualifies as a sitcom, it's my number 1. If not, then it's Sports Night.
Fair enough.
And real quick, it's funny you brought up MASH. Today is the day the episode aired that McLean Stevenson died.
Yes. Yep.
And Gary Berghoff walking into the operating room.
Yep. And you know the story behind that. They didn't get that last scene. They didn't get the final page of the script until the day they were shooting it. They had no idea that they were writing him out of the show.
Yep.
So
they wanted a genuine reaction from all the actors that he was dead.
And the reaction of the surgeons, they couldn't speak.
Right.
Yeah.
They just continued to work. Gary Berghoff Gary Berghoff was the only one who knew.
Right.
So he's the only one in that scene that's acting.
Right. And McLean Stevenson admitted years later, biggest mistake I ever made was leaving that show.
Yeah.
He's like, absolutely the biggest mistake I ever made. I made money. I did my thing, but biggest mistake I ever made.
And as much as I love McLean Stevenson, we didn't lose a lot with Harry Morgan, though.
No. But
from a viewer's perspective,
right.
No, 100%. Harry, Colonel Sherman T. Potter was. I mean, as much
and
as
it was
Blake, Colonel Potter.
It was his second appearance.
But it was a different type of character. He
came through as a general first.
Yeah, bull feathers. Remember, he used to have all these different, for curses and stuff.
Horse hockey. Horse hockey was my favorite.
Horse hockey.
General. It wasn't General Steele. He was General. He was a general.
He was a general who came through. Who was just a hard.
Yeah, loony. Yeah, exactly. So.
And people forget after that episode, the season ended. Wayne Rogers was written out because he had a contract dispute.
Yep.
But he was gone the next season too.
So and Hawkeye went to see him before he left. And wound up picking up his replacement,
BJ Honeycutt.
Right. And then a season later, Frank Burns was written out. Enter
Charles Emerson Winchester,
David August.
Right. Yeah. And so every time that they replaced a character on that show,
those were the only times they replaced a character. The only other time they didn't replace a character, Gary Berghoff left, but Jamie Farr
just moved over into his job, but didn't take over a role. Right. But it was always the replacement was always different, not necessarily better, but still great for the show.
But great. Great in the show. And then of course and we just talked about it too, because when we did our 70s, it was my number 1 for the 70s.
It's my number 1
2 weeks ago, and it was a couple days after, but February 28th, 1983, that was the last episode.
The airing.
And I remember I was in high school. I remember everybody. That was what everyone was talking about that day. You watch a match tonight. You watch a match tonight. You watch a match tonight. I remember it was like it was yesterday. Everybody was talking about that. Nobody could talk about anything. Teachers, no one could talk about anything else but the last episode of MASH, which was that night.
Yeah, and I was 13 when that came on. I remember that. I do remember.
I will always remember the chicken.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's.
And what was BJ's
that reveal? That reveal. Oh my God! That reveal.
And what was BJ's message that he left in rocks written out for Hawkeye when he took off in the helicopter?
Said goodbye, right?
Say goodbye, right?
Because he
said in case we'll get together back in the States. I know we will, but just
he wouldn't say goodbye.
He wouldn't say goodbye.
Right.
So, but just in case we don't, I left you a message. And the helicopter took off, and rock spelled out goodbye.
Right.
But that was for us. That was for everybody. Right.
That was for everybody. Right. And Charles Emerson Winchester leaving the camp. Remember what his ride was out of the camp?
It was a rickshaw, wasn't it?
No. It was the garbage truck.
The garbage truck. He left in a garbage truck,
right.
and it was the because the guys he had a band
the Korean little orchestra that he taught were in the truck in front of him,
right?
And they finally got the song right.
And of everybody,
who stays?
Jamie Farr.
Klinger
stays because he was trying to get out from day one, and he married Soon Lee and stayed in Korea.
Yeah,
that's right.
That was such a great show.
That was a great show.
That's probably the greatest finale of any show ever because they tied everything up and they said goodbye.
Goodbye. And Chuck Aaron just commented, goodbye. There you go.
Goodbye.
It was.
By the way, the woman who played Sun Yi, if I'm not mistaken,
Star Trek.
She was Miles O'Brien, Chief O'Brien's wife, Keiko O'Brien.
Yep.
That was her.
100%. Yep.
We're back to Star Trek. You got out of the show.
No, think about it. I mean, she was.
It's like a circle.
No, but in 1983, she had to be 18.
Probably.
Yeah, she was 17, 18.
Very young.
So,
or she just very, very much aged well by the time Deep Space Nine came around.
That's true too.
Well, no, then she was got to be what? She had to be almost 30. Yeah, probably 33, 34 when she did Star Trek.
That makes sense.
So,
fair enough. Yeah. All right. I'm going to give you mine. All right. I'm going to give you my honorable mentions after I say my 3, 2, 1. My 3, 2, 1 are very similar to Al's, so I'm just going to run through them. It's Seinfeld, Friends, and Frasier. So my number 3 is Seinfeld. My number 2 is Friends. My number 1 is Frasier.
Okay.
And it is. There are episodes that would make Seinfeld 1 and Frasier 3 and Friends 1 and Frasier 2, but it's overall, they're 3, 2, 1 regardless of what order you put them in. Okay, For me, that's what my 1, 2, 3 are. But I'll give you my top 3 honorable mentions above them. Okay, and they are, and in no particular order, by the way. News Radio.
Okay.
Yes.
Phil Hartman.
So, well, not just that. You had alum from Kids in the Hall.
Kids in the Hall. Yeah. What's his face?
David.
Yes. Yeah. Him.
This is
him.
His
name. Him. Yeah. That guy. He was in it. Yeah. There was a bunch of people here. I'll just pull it up. What the hell was his name? David. But David Foley. Dave Foley. Yeah.
I shrink your head.
Andy Dick was in it. Maura Tierney was in it.
Yeah.
Joe Rogan.
Joe Rogan was in it. Yeah. Phil Hartman.
That's right.
John Lovitz was in it. Putty was in it. Patrick Warburton. Burton.
Warburton.
Burton came out the wrong
launch.
Lauren Graham. We talked about Gilmore Girls before. Lauren Graham was in it. Yeah. So News Radio. Dream On. Not a TV, not a network show. It was on HBO. But what's her face? That was in. She was in a bunch of stuff. She wound up being in Frasier towards the end. Actually, what's her name? Wendy Malick.
Oh, Wendy Malick.
Yeah.
Michael McKean was in that.
Michael McKean was in it.
That's right.
And Courtney Cox.
Yep. And what was crap.
She was Wendy Malick was in the Brian Benben series on HBO. The sex show.
Oh yeah. What was that?
Denny Dillon was in it. It ran for Denny Dillon was the only reason why I remember Denny Dillon is because she was an original cast member of Joe Piscopo's cast in 1980 with Gilbert Gottfried and all them, and she got fired. And they had that mass firing or whatever.
Brian Bemba was in Dream On. That was his
Dream
show.
On, that's right. Yes.
Well, so we're talking about
yeah.
When she also went on to be in Just Shoot Me.
She was in Just Shoot Me with David Spade and
George Segal.
Yep.
Yeah.
And back to Galaxy Quest, Enrico Colantoni.
Yep.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah,
that's right.
And then and also I'm going to throw out there another cable show sitcom, Robert Wall, Arliss.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
Yep.
Yes. Mm-hmm. Arliss was 90s. So the thing is, I would not have taken any of yours with my honorable mentions.
Go for it. What were yours?
Mad About You. Paul Reiser, Helen Hunt, the magic on screen between the two of them was palpable. Richard Kind was in that.
Mm-hmm.
That was an amazing show.
John, I never got into that show.
John,
I loved it.
I did watch it. I didn't love the show. I didn't watch it like a devotee, but I watched a bunch of episodes. John Pankow was in that show. He was Ira. John Pankow played Ira.
Yep.
John Pankow's brother Jim is the trombone player for Chicago from day one.
Oh wow!
Yeah,
and also Stephen Wright was in that.
Stephen Wright was
he? Yeah. Yes.
Oh, wow.
He was, because remember, Reiser was like a producer or something.
Yes.
And Stephen Wright was the sound guy.
Mm-hmm. That's right.
Yep.
That's right.
Yep. He was the sound guy.
I met Paul once, and he was hysterically funny and told us amazing, like the best gossip about Alec Baldwin and Kim Basinger.
Really? That's great. Love it.
He was in the middle of filming Marrying Man when he came on. And he told these, oh my God. I mean, we were in tears, the stuff he was telling us, because Baldwin and Basinger were just starting to fool around, and they couldn't get him out of the trailer. It was insane. It was insane. So Reiser was very funny.
Oh, he was a funny man.
That's funny. Yeah. That's great.
And that's not even where he got it started. He got to start on what was it, My Two Dads?
That's right.
Right, with Greg Evigan.
That's right.
Well, and, all the way back, he was in Paul Reiser, right?
And Dick Buckus was on that show as well.
That's right.
Paul Reiser was in Diner back in '82.
Oh well, yeah. Well, everyone was in Diner.
Everybody was in Diner. Well, not everybody, but some people.
But that whole Degrees of Bacon.
And
you go back to Diner and then come out. Always.
I mean, well, and he was in the first two Beverly Hills Cops too. He was.
That's right.
So there's that.
Eddie Murphy's partner. Eddie Murphy. Not to take this away from '90s sitcoms and go back to '80s comedy movies, or comedy action movies or whatever. But Eddie Murphy in the first Beverly Hills Cop was 22 years old.
That's right.
And that was freaking gold.
22 when he was turning 23, and then only a few years older when he was in the second one.
Yeah,
most of Eddie Murphy's classification movies, or the bulk of his work, he was in his 20s back in the 80s.
Yeah.
And then there was the Golden Child after that.
Golden Child, no. But then you got into Harlem Nights and of course
Come to America.
Coming to America.
But still, all his 20s, all of them. Trading Places. He was 21 years old in Trading Places.
But did you know the story behind Beverly Hills Cop? Who was originally supposed to play Axel Foley?
Michael J. Fox.
No,
I'm kidding. That was
Sylvester Stallone.
Was he really?
Oh, yes.
They never would have happened.
So wait, no. The reason why they didn't do it is because it would have the Stallone wouldn't have been called Axel Foley. He was going to have a different name,
right?
But the entire movie was action. It was not meant to be a comedy, and it would have cost Paramount so much money. They said, "There's no way we're going to do this story the way it's written because it's going to be too much money." The studio was floundering for some reason. It was like even though Star Trek had started to have some success, there were some other things that were going on. they were not making a ton of money.
Right.
So they rewrote it. They said, who could we get? They went to Eddie Murphy. They pitched it. Paramount kind of wasn't on board, but they were like, all right, he'll come cheaper. And Murphy had to be convinced in his home in Alpine, New Jersey. And he was like, oh, yeah, all right, I'll do it. He did it. It became a blockbuster, and, off they went.
Yeah.
So
Great.
Think about that. Stallone, Eddie Murphy, like you would have thought another
entirely different movies.
Totally different movie.
And do you get Judge Reinhold if Stallone's in it?
No.
No, it's a completely different movie. You don't get Judge Reinhold. You don't get John Ashton. You don't get Ronnie Cox. You don't get any of those guys.
No, maybe you get John Ashton. Maybe you get John Ashton, but in a different way.
Right.
But there's no way that movie, as constituted, is the whole thing is just explosions. Yeah. That's it.
Yeah. So they waited a few years and did it with Kurt Russell and did Tango and Cash.
Right. Tango and Cash, right.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
But exactly another honorable mention that I had, that 70s show.
Was that it started in the 90s?
Started in the 90s, went on
and finished in the 2000s, right?
2000s, right. But man, that was a lot of fun. But another one that I guess another one that I loved. That was definitely a 90s. Drew Carey.
Yeah, I
loved it. Drew Carey had one episode where
he liked one episode.
Oh no, I liked a lot of episodes, but there was just one episode where him and his friends are going to go see Rocky Horror. Mimi and her friends are going to go see Queen of the Jungle. What's the name of that movie? It's the Queen of the Jungle. It was a drag movie.
I forget. I don't know.
Wong Fu?
No. I can't remember the name of it now. But what they do is there's like a drag off dance scene in it.
Oh.
And it's hilarious. It's very well done.
Interesting.
I enjoyed the show a lot. So
that was a good show. I watched Drew Carey. That was a good show. And then I actually liked better with Drew Carey and Ryan Stiles did. Whose line is it anyway? Much more so than a Drew Carey show.
But like a lot of the popular shows in the U.S., it was a takeoff of a British show.
Yeah, no, it started. Right. Well, yeah,
a lot of people don't realize The Office. That started in England. Now, yes, the U.S. version went far beyond. Steve Carell took it much further than what's his. I can't remember his name. I love it. Love this guy who started The Office in England.
Good Lord.
Why can't I remember his name? Because I've had 4 beers. That's why. The English cast of The Office. Ricky Gervais.
Ricky Gervais, yeah.
Had to look him up.
Right.
Sorry, Ricky. Really enjoy your comedy. I love everything you're about. I love that you take on big game hunters and all that.
Right.
But, so much of, so many of our shows were just takeoffs of things that started in England.
Yep.
And then we started to roll, and then England started stealing some of our stuff.
What's the longest running cartoon sitcom in the United States?
Simpsons.
Where did that start?
That started on the Tracy Ullman show. Yeah.
There you go.
So she recognized Matt Groening's genius.
There you go.
Boom.
There you go.
Rest is history.
I'll throw a couple others out there too. Which we call Fresh Prince. All right.
Fresh Prince, absolutely.
Not so much nowadays. You want to talk about Will Smith with, him doing what he did a couple of years ago to
Chris Rock.
Chris Rock, thank you. But the show was fun. It was a fun show. I'm not putting another mention. I'm just bringing it up because we're just chatting, right? And the other one I want to bring up is Family Matters. Urkel.
Oh, yeah.
Did I do that?
Right. Still a catchphrase for some people. Mention that here and there.
Another show I love from back in the Will and Grace.
Will and Grace was
right.
Will and Grace.
It's one
Another
of the first,
90s show that ended in
the 2000s.
Will and Grace I think started later in the 90s.
It started later in the 90s.
2000s.
But the thing about that show, it had to start later in the 90s because it was one of the first shows where a couple of the main characters were openly gay.
Openly gay, that's right. Yeah.
You know, it was one of the first shows that did this, so it was groundbreaking. And one of my favorite episodes of it is when Jack comes across I just forgot the actor's name for Footloose.
Kevin Bacon.
Well, I just mentioned him earlier, didn't I?
I was going to say.
Bacon. Comes across Kevin Bacon and turns.
Sounds like you've been drinking.
I may have.
Might have had a couple drinks here and
there. This was my fourth, by the way. This is why I can't remember.
Well,
there you go.
There you go.
But he comes across Kevin Bacon in his apartment, and he doesn't want to bother him. But it just turns out that Kevin Bacon's very, very lonely. And so he starts hanging out with him. There's a whole scene where they're doing the Footloose dance. It's hilarious.
That's pretty funny. By the way, Chuck Aaron did. I missed the comment. He said Gervais.
Oh, he did.
He did. He commented on Gervais.
He did. So he hasn't been drinking as much as we have.
Not at all.
Because it's a Tuesday.
Exactly. So, although there was one Tuesday that, never mind. I won't even go there.
There's that Tuesday.
We spoke about that earlier, but we'll leave that alone. So. Anyway, cool. All right, good top three. I like we did 70s, 80s, 90s. I don't think we'll dive.
We don't need to venture into the 2000s.
We don't need to go beyond that. Yeah.
So, right.
60s, wouldn't mind 60s.
60s. Well, there's 50 or even 50s, because the 50s had Leave It to Beaver, which had probably the dirtiest line ever spoken on television. Geez, Ward, I think you were really hard on the Beaver last night.
Jeez. Oh, yeah, exactly.
It was actually said on the show. It got past the censors. And I have a feeling that particular line, they've been waiting to spring that, and it's the whole reason they named the one character the Beaver.
Right.
Just so they could spring that line eventually and get it past the censors.
Brian Boak just said, but you guys were not alive then.
Exactly.
So
were you Brian?
Reruns.
Exactly. It's called Nick at Night. No, I'm kidding. No. All three of us watched reruns back way before Nickelodeon was even. So it just perpetuated on from there. And Brian, you're not that much older than us, so
no.
You might have been in diapers, if not born yet either. So
yeah, not that much.
Exactly. But thank you for calling us younger. We appreciate that.
We love when I love it when I'm not the oldest person in the room.
Exactly.
Right.
So, well, in this particular triumvirate right here,
I am the oldest.
You are.
I know that.
Here we go.
Yeah, Brian to the mix.
Yes. Brian, yes, you were born in 1960. So, look, we were all born. Well, actually, I was going to say we were all born in the 60s, but Al actually wasn't born in the 60s.
No, he wasn't. Sorry. That was the first of the new decade.
There you go.
1970 for Mr. Gattullo.
But, anyway, cool. All right, parting shots. What's coming up on the show this week, Al? On your show?
I have somebody on from Kristen Popcheff, the director of experience from WeldWorks out in Colorado. They are celebrating their 9th anniversary first week in April, and a whole bunch of Media Noche bottles are going to have released. But for the first time ever, they're going to have a Media Noche bottle that you can actually get elsewhere, New York, New Jersey, Pennsylvania. It's only the third time in the history of the brewery in 9 years that they've released a Media Noche bottle outside of Colorado that you can purchase. So that'll be pretty cool.
Really cool. Awesome. Yeah. Cool. Check out Al's show every Sunday night, 11 o'clock, 970 a.m. and online. Just go to 970 a.m. The Answer, and you'll be able to click on the link for it, or any of the posts that Al puts up in a lot of places. You can just click the link that he puts up everywhere. Follow
everywhere is better than
everywhere.
Everywhere
places.
Everywhere. No, everywhere.
Walk around. I put it on people's heads. Stickers.
Exactly.
Yeah, here.
The other week, Dave was actually walking around for 3 days. He had it on his head.
I didn't know it was there. I thought I thought Al was telling me I could have a V8.
That's right.
But yeah, check it out every Sunday night. It's awesome. And we'll actually be off next week. A little vacation week. Dave has a little bit of family coming to visit.
Yes, my daughter's coming up for spring break. I look forward to this every year. We also have somewhere around that time we've got a birthday coming up in our world.
Mm-hmm.
So
Nice.
So there you go. So that, and then we're going to a show. So yeah, next Tuesday we're taking off. Little late March vacation week. So we'll be back first week in April, 2 weeks from tonight. But
did you see Brian's comment here?
I did not.
Which I think is very, very. I like that because it says Al's the child, but if you look,
Al is the child. He said.
So now take it down again. Yeah, he is a child. Take it down again, and if you look over Al's shoulder, the one that doesn't have the booby over it, behind him is the child.
That's right.
There you go.
Right.
There you go.
Back there
From the Mandalorian.
From the Mandalorian. There you go.
That's right.
So he's got the child. Oh, so
he is a child. He has a child.
Very apropos, Brian. Way to go. That was perfect. You couldn't have planned that any better.
This is the way.
This is the way. Exactly.
That's right.
All right. Well, on that note, we will wrap the show up for today. I want to thank everybody for watching, and don't forget, and for those of you just listening to the video podcast, thanks for listening. Don't forget to visit our website, www.lagerroom.com. That's LAGERROOM.com. And please remember, like us and follow us on all of our social media, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and of course, our YouTube channel. All of them are at The Lager Room. There you go. Remember, we go live with a video podcast on Facebook, YouTube, X, which used to be Twitter, but is now X, and Twitch every Tuesday night around 6:30 p.m. Eastern Time. And for those of you who just want to listen to the audio podcast, you can do so on our audio host, Spreaker, as well as iHeartRadio, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Odyssey, Audible, Google Podcasts, Amazon Music Podcast, TuneIn, Podcast Addict, Castbox, Deezer, Podchaser, Listen Notes. Pretty much anywhere you can find an audio podcast, you will find the Lager Room Guys Craft Beer Podcast. And if you haven't done so already, that's a period. That's what that is. That's a period.
I should probably not have this thing close.
I would imagine that's not a good idea, right? If you haven't done so already, please subscribe to one or more of those feeds, and you'll never miss a show. Again, thanks for following along with us. Have a great rest of your week. Have a wonderful weekend. Al, thank you so much for coming on. We love it. We appreciate it, as always, whenever you come on the show. Don't go anywhere. We'll talk to you for a couple minutes. Guys, women, everybody, drink a lot of beer, but drink responsibly, and we will talk to you soon, folks. Take care.
Even those who don't identify as either.
Everybody listening, drink a lot of beer, but drink responsibly. Have a great rest of your week, wonderful weekend, and we'll talk to you in 2 weeks, folks. Take care. Cheers. Oh, quick note. New podcast every other week, every third week, and a chaser.
Typically on Wednesdays. And
a chaser. Check that out.
With the beer whisperer, whiskey whisperer, Tom Overhill, the all-around great guy.
All-around great guy. So we'll the two of us, Dave and I, and Tom. Sometimes just two of us, some incarnation. Sometimes me and Tom. Sometimes me and Dave. Sometimes Dave and Tom. But it allows us to branch out and drink something other. It allows us to drink something other than beer. So there you go.
Nice. Because our livers don't discriminate.
Exactly. So, but anyway, drink a lot of beer, drink responsibly. We'll talk to you soon, folks. Take care. Cheers.
Ciao.